Most beautiful places to watch a baseball game in all of the country, and it'll play host to this MLB.TV exclusive, a National League Central matchup between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Milwaukee Brewers. Hello everyone and welcome alongside former General Manager Jim Duquette. My name is Vinny McCucci with you. It's the Pirates and the Brewers, the rubber game of this three-game series. We'll get into how we got to that point in just a couple of moments, but let's first start things out, Jim, by taking a look at some of the key players that we'll be focusing on throughout this afternoon. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, a lot of talk is who might be leaving by the trade deadline. One of those names is Fredi Sanchez, still a member of the club and certainly an impact type of player to have wherever he may be.
He's one of the top second basemen, both offensively and defensively. Can handle the bat well, goes the other way well. He's one of those grinder-type players that you like to see out there, plays the game hard. You look at the double play combination of Wilson and Sanchez, they're number one in the National League.
Well, for Fredi Sanchez, anything he has accomplished in a Pittsburgh uniform has been something to marvel at to this point, both offensively and defensively. For the Milwaukee Brewers, they are looking to get to back where they were in 2008. That's a playoff spot. And in order to do that, they need to become deeper. They need to become stronger in several areas. And a player like Felipe Lopez does that. A recent acquisition. Let's get the opinion of Harold Reynolds on Felipe Lopez, now a Milwaukee Brewer.
I think it's a great move by the Brewers to end up getting Felipe Lopez. He's a guy now that's proved he can play second base. Remember, he's a shortstop that's converted to second base, but he's done it now, and it's a tremendous pickup. I like the fact that he's versatile. He can play all over the diamond if they need to move him around, but he's going to play second. The other thing he does so well, he switch hits. He's an athlete. He'll score on balls in the gap. He just brings them a dimension they did not have since Ricky Weeks went down. Now, I love Craig Counsell, and I like the other guys they're throwing out there, but they're utility guys, and I think they serve better in a utility role. This guy is an everyday player, and he will help their everyday lineup.
There are the thoughts of Harold Reynolds on Felipe Lopez, now in a Brewers uniform. Jim, certainly from a general manager's standpoint, you can understand the value of anybody in a 25-man roster. What does Lopez bring to this Brewer club?
Well, Harold said it right in terms of the versatility. The good thing about Lopez, he has been an on-base percentage guy. He's second in the National League and getting on base. If you look at that lineup, they're going to put a lot of pressure on the opposing pitchers with him at the top of the lineup. Then you'll probably have Cameron and Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder. They already are fourth in the league in runs scored. This will only help.
All right, so Felipe Lopez, now the newest member of the Milwaukee Brewers. You can see what he's been able to accomplish so far in 2009. The Pirates and the Brewers, a game apiece so far in this three-game series. The opening game of the series went to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it was something of note because Milwaukee had been beating the Pirates for almost a year straight, and that's something to be said for two teams that are involved in a Central Division matchup. Then things got a little bit testy towards the end. You see Jeff Karstens get hit by a pitch, and the bench is cleared, but that was just the precursor for what happened on night number 2 as well, because ultimately the Pirates would come away with the victory there in game number 1. On day number 2, a 2-0 victory for the Milwaukee Brewers over the Pittsburgh Pirates. It was kind of a return to the old as Braden Looper able to get the job done, as well as Prince Fielder. But for the most part, Jim, it has been Brewer dominance over this Pirates club as of late.
It really has, and I think it started to get in the head of the Pirates a little bit. You see that happen on occasion. They hadn't won in over a year. A lot of the team that is currently with the Pirates, they don't remember the last time that they won. The lineup and that whole roster has changed over in a year.
Well, it is now the third game of this three-game series. It'll be Paul Maholm versus Jeff Suppan. We will have the lineups, we will have first pitch, and we'll have much, much more. All of that coming your way. It's an MLB.TV exclusive. The Pirates and the Brewers from PNC Park coming up next. The first batter he'll face is Corey Hart. First pitch is in there for a called strike. Somewhat of a dreary-looking day in Pittsburgh. For the most part, overcast skies, but ultimately, Game 3 of this series between two teams that see each other an awful lot each season. NL Central Division opponents. Over towards third. Beautiful grab on a diving play by Andy LaRoche over to Garrett Jones in time for the out. And there's one away. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, we mentioned Paul Maholm out on the hill, and Maholm is one of those guys, he may not come at you with the fastest of stuff, Jim, but he's able to pinpoint his control, and because of it, he's a very effective pitcher.
Yeah, he's not going to dominate you with any of his stuff. He's got a nice fastball, changeup, breaking ball. He has 5 career losses against Milwaukee. That's the most losses against any team, but he's pitched well as of late, hasn't lost a game in over a month.
Here's Mike Cameron, first pitch swinging. He lifts one down the right field line, and that's good to get out of play. Mike Cameron hitting second in this order for the Milwaukee Brewers. Take a look at the lineup here. It's Corey Hart led off by Mike Cameron batting second. Ryan Braun will be coming up on deck as well. This one's fouled back into the screen.
You know, one of the things about the Brewers' offense, including Cameron, they're a free swinging bunch. It's one of those things early on in the season, they were a little bit more selective, but lately they have been not as selective as they need to be.
Prince Fielder hitting fourth, followed by Casey McGee batting in the 5th spot and playing second base. The next pitch to Cameron is down low in the dirt. Bill Hall hits in the 6th spot playing third base. J.J. Hardy hits 7th at shortstop. Jason Kendall's the catcher hitting 8th, and Jeff Suppan is the pitcher batting 9th. Upstairs, the count moves to 2-2. Well, Mike Cameron, of course, missed some time early part of the season as well, too. It gave an opportunity for some to step in and see what they were made of, but for the most part, Mike Cameron out in center field is probably the strongest that the Brewers can be as he lifts one into center field. And that's going to be grabbed by McCutchen for out number 2.
I talked to Cameron the other day. He said the team really hasn't been consistent all year. You know, the pitching has been quality early in the season, and then as they've gone on, they haven't pitched as deep into games. And same almost thing with the offense. The offense has scored a lot of runs here as of late, but obviously early in the season they weren't doing that.
McCutchen is joined by Brandon Moss and Delwyn Young in the outfield. Andy LaRoche, Ramon Vasquez, Freddie Sanchez, and Garrett Jones make up the infield. Ryan Doman, we'll talk more about him behind the plate for the Pirates, and Paul Maholm out on the hill. Here's Ryan Braun, an all-star for the 2nd straight year, and probably one of the certainly best up-and-coming players, if he's not already there, really he is, that the National League has to offer. The Brewers excited about what he can do. His numbers above a 300 average, 60 RBI so far in the season. This one lifted to deep left field. Going back will be Brandon Moss. He looks towards the corner, and this ball is going to be gone! A solo home run off the bat of Ryan Braun. It gives the Brewers a 1-0 lead here in the top of the 1st.
Well, Maholm tried to sneak a fastball, looked like inside on Braun, and he just turned on it, flicked it over the fence.
Well, it is no cheapie to hit a ball down the left field line at PNC Park, and Braun able to do just that. His 18th home run of the year. Here's one more look at it, Jim.
Yeah, Maholm trying to go inside on Braun. It's not easy to do, and it came back over the plate. He got a nice swing on it, crushed it.
So for Ryan Braun, home run number 18, RBI number 61 of the year. It gives the Brewers the early 1-0 lead. And here's Prince Fielder. Fielder behind in the count, no balls and a strike to Paul Maholm. Lefty into the windup, and he deals. In the dirt, off-speed pitch, counts 1-1.
You talk about that 3-4 hole in the lineup. Braun and Fielder, not much better right-handed, left-handed combination. It really is. You look at Fielder and the type of season he's had. Really, the only other player in the National League that's had better numbers is Albert Pujols.
Chopped over towards third. LaRoche is there. The throw to Jones in time for the out, so 3 away. But not before Ryan Braun is able to come through. He picks up his 18th home run of the year. The Brewers take the early 1-0 lead. We move to the bottom of the 1st at PNC Park on MLB.tv. Hey, Chris, I thought you said for the It's the bottom of the first at PNC Park. Milwaukee with a 1-0 lead. Two teams in the National League Central looking to make some headway. We've got ourselves a bit of a jumble, Jim, at the top of that division with 4 teams all within 2 games, and Pittsburgh right now sitting in the cellar.
Yeah, Cincinnati's obviously fallen back, but everybody trying to stay close to Colorado, who's leading the wild card there. To me, the sleeping giant are the Cubs for sure, and obviously the Brewers, who won the wild card last year.
I guess you could say Houston's a bit of a surprise. I would have thought that Cincinnati would have been the team in that 4-team mix right there, and Houston had fallen back, but in fact, it's the opposite.
Yeah, and Houston's in that second half surge like they seem to have every year, and Cincinnati, just because of the injury to Jay Bruce, they already needed to bat. I think that's where they're really starting to falter.
For the Pirates, it's an impressive lineup as well, too. We'll get that for you in a moment, but Andrew McCutchen leads off, and that's all you need to know. This is one of the more talented prospects to come through the Pirates system in quite some time, and the right-handed speedster leads things off against Jeff Suppan. 1-0 Milwaukee. Ryan Braun, an early first-inning solo blast, has given the Brewers the lead.
McCutchen only been up for about 40 games or so, and he's among the leaders in RBIs from the leadoff spot.
The 0-1 pitch. It's down and away, and the count moves to 1-1. Well, the Pirates are certainly in a position where their name are going to come up as sellers throughout this entire trade deadline. And McCutchen was one of those names that allowed them to trade Nate McLouth to the Braves a couple of weeks ago, because they knew that McCutchen was ready to get that everyday playing time in a Pirate uniform.
You know, McCutchen's, when you talk to Neil Huntington, the general manager of the Pirates, he is one of the top young talents. He actually, for a young kid, has leadership qualities.
Tap over towards third. Nice pickup by Hall. Throw to first in time to get the speedy McCutchen. And that is out number 1. Let's take a look at the rest of that Pittsburgh Pirate lineup. McCutchen, of course, leads things off, and he's playing out center field. Freddie Sanchez bats second and plays second. Garrett Jones hits the 3-hole and plays first base. Ryan Domitz, the catcher, batting fourth. In right field is Delwin Young batting fifth. Brandon Moss hits sixth and plays left. Andy LaRoche bats seventh and plays third. The shortstop is Ramon Vasquez hitting eighth, and Paul Maholm bats ninth and does the pitching. Here is Freddie Sanchez. We spoke about him just a moment ago at the top of the broadcast, and he's among those guys that could put up a well over 300 average on any given season just because of how well he controls the bat.
Yeah, and the Pirates have tried to secure him with a multi-year contract, at least have tried to negotiate with him, put kind of a timetable on it. Both Freddie Sanchez and Jack Wilson seem to have rejected this. Now, the discussions haven't been tabled entirely, but certainly Sanchez is a guy, if you put him on the trade market, would have a lot of interest.
You may have noticed at the top of the lineup as well, too, that Adam LaRoche is not in the lineup right now. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is reporting that LaRoche has been traded to the Boston Red Sox. That is not confirmed as of yet. When we get confirmation on if, in fact, he was traded and where, if it is to Boston, we will report that over to you. But for right now, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is saying that Adam LaRoche has been traded to the Boston Red Sox. But you see him right there, so he was pulled from the lineup. We'll have to wait and see if we get more information on that.
Yeah, usually if he's been traded, you won't see him in uniform because he's not going to be available in the game. So I'm not sure if that has any meaning right there.
The 2-2 pitch. Tap back up the middle, slowly though, fielded by Hardy. Hardy over to first, in time for the out. Jeff Suppan, the pitcher here for the Milwaukee Brewers, a 5-7 mark on the season, 55 strikeouts on the year. But he's a veteran, and if you need, usually he can come through.
He's a guy that really does not give you much more than 5 to 6 innings. He's gone less than 6 innings in 10 of his 19 starts. His last 3 starts, he's been much better in ERA in the low 2s, 2.4. He has 13 career wins against Pittsburgh.
So Garrett Jones hitting in that third hole with 2 outs here at the bottom of the first.
Jones is a guy that's come on the scene here awfully quickly. His first 12 games, he hit 7 home runs. What a great start, obviously, for the young Pirate. Gets to play first base today. He's only played 8 games at the Major League level at first base.
Inside, 2 balls and a strike. A left-handed hitter, much like Adam LaRoche, who is, as we mentioned, not in the lineup today. Waiting to hear if, in fact, any of the rumors that are out there are true, are confirmed. But again, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reporting that Adam LaRoche traded to the Boston Red Sox, although you just saw that shot of him in the dugout in his Pirate uniform. So we will see what if, in fact, anything comes out of that. But for right now, Garrett Jones is a 3-1 count ahead of the count here to Suppan with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. That's down low, so ball 4, and Jones is aboard with a walk. Let's take a look at the defense for the Milwaukee Brewers. Behind Jeff Suppan in the outfield, you have Ryan Braun, Mike Cameron, and Corey Hart from left to right. Over from third to first with Bill Hall, J.J. Hardy, Casey McGee, and Prince Fielder, with Jason Kendall behind the plate, and of course Suppan on the hill.
Obviously no Felipe Lopez today at second base. He's going to get the day off.
Here's Ryan Doman, the catcher for the Pirates, hitting in the cleanup spot. And a welcome addition back into the lineup. He missed the better part of the first of this season with an injury as he lifts one into deep right field. This one has plenty of distance on it, and it is gone. Several rows into the right field stands. Ryan Doman on the first pitch he sees in the afternoon lifts a 2-run shot off Jeff Suppan, and the Pirate lead is 2-1.
Well, the Pirates really have missed Ryan Doman's bat this season. Obviously was out for a good portion of the year with that wrist injury. Just come back prior to the All-Star break. Took this fastball by Jeff Suppan deep to right field.
Here's one more look at it. Really very much a no-doubter type of shot. I mean, that wall is 21 feet high in right field, but he cleared it by several rows.
Bad location by Suppan also. That was belt high, and Doman did not miss it.
So a pair of home runs hit here in the first inning, one by Ryan Braun in the top half, and then Ryan Doman with a 2-run shot of his own has given the Pirates the lead 2-1. Here's Delwin Young, the right fielder. Just like that, Pittsburgh back out in front.
Yeah, the Brewers staff this year really been prone to the long ball. Allowed the second most home runs in the National League, 87. Obviously, that's the 88th home run. That has been an area of concern for the front office, is that starting rotation after Giovanni Gallardo.
Delwin Young looks at a strike, so the count now is 1-2. Young bringing a .303 average into the game, 22 RBIs as well. Left-handed hitter against the righty throwing Suppan. The 1-2 pitch on the way. Hit it to center field. This is going to drop for a base hit. 2-out single for Delwin Young.
Nice piece of hitting there with Delwin. It looked like he got fooled by the off-speed pitch, but he kept his hands back well enough and just flicked it out. Here he takes that breaking ball and just flicks it out over the infield for a base hit.
Yeah, Jim, if he tries to pull that ball or tries to do anything more with it, it's a weak ground ball over the second, so you're right. Especially in that 2-strike count, acting defensively, Young is able to get aboard. Here's Brandon Moss. Moss, the left fielder, also hitting to the left side. We get a check over at first, and Young is back.
Delwin Young is a stolen base threat. The Pirates overall, 75% success rate in terms of stealing bases. That's third in the National League.
We'll see if John Russell has the go sign on here with 2 outs in the inning. The pitch on the way, and it's cued out of play. The count's 0-1. Brandon Moss, 254 on the season. Probably has a little bit more pop than he's shown.
Yeah, Moss, they got him in the big trade last year with Jason Bay. They got him from the Red Sox. Generally considered a fourth outfield type, but they're trying to see and give him more playing time to see if he can be an everyday guy.
Ground over towards second. The play made by McGee over to first in time for the out. But the Pirates come back with a big blast of their own. It's Ryan Doman, a 2-run shot into the right field seats. And the Pirates have regained the lead once more. It is a 2-1 lead as we played one. To the top of the second we go on MLB.TV. The Pirates own a 2-1 lead right now over the Milwaukee Brewers. Here's a look at your umpires. Damian Beal behind home plate. Marty Foster over at first. Wally Bell at second. And Chad Fairchild over at third base. The umpires for this afternoon's contest. 2-1 Pittsburgh with a lead over the Milwaukee Brewers here in the third and final game of this 3-game set.
Umpires already had a little brouhaha on Monday night. Going to keep things low key here. Don't want to have any more repercussions from that fight that they had 2 nights ago.
First pitch swinging for McGee out into center field. That's going to get through. McCutchen uses his legs to get over and cut it off. McGee's going to have to hold up. And that is just a sharp single out in center field to lead off the top of the second.
Nice defense there by McCutchen. That's not an easy play. Went a long way to right center, tracked the ball down in the ground ball, and held him to a single.
One more look at that single on that first pitch from Mahalam. Covered a lot of ground, though, and there's something that, you'll notice a lot more if the next play is a double play or if McGee's never able to really make it into scoring position, especially if a single happens. It's the little things that'll help a team win a ball game, and McCutchen shows a piece of it right there. Bill Hall, first pitch swinging out to left center field. This one's going to find the gap. Both Moss and McCutchen chasing it. Moss picks it up. He's going to make the relay throw in. McGee is being given the signal to come on home. Here comes the throw, but it's going to be cut off, and McGee comes through to score an RBI for Bill Hall. This game is knotted up right away at 2 apiece.
Well, it looked like they botched the relay on that ball. I think they overthrew or underthrew the first man in the cutoff, and if they had gotten it to the cutoff man, McGee, he's not a fleet of foot type of runner. They might have had a play at home plate.
So Mahalam dealing, but the Brewers bats certainly recognizing that.
Yeah, miscommunication there on the relay. The shortstop is out there. He's the main guy. He should have had it, but it sounded like the second baseman might have said, let it go, let it go. Look at, and then it short hops, obviously, Freddie Sanchez.
So it's a 2-2 tie now, and here is J.J. Hardy. Hardy, the shortstop, hitting in the 7-hole. Average much lower than we are used to seeing out of J.J. Hardy. Hall over on second with nobody out here in the top of the second. Swings over an off-speed pitch there. The count now 0-2.
Nice sharp breaking ball there from Maholm. That's one area that he needs to improve upon, is burying that curveball. On occasion, he'll leave that pitch up in the strike zone. That's a ball that can get hit hard.
Some back and forth scoring here in the early going between Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. Ryan Braun with a solo shot at the top of the first. Ryan Doman a 2-run blast in the bottom of the first, and then Milwaukee putting together a single by McGee and then a double by Bill Hall to tie it up at 2 once more. Top half of the second inning, nobody out. Hardy behind in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Hall takes his lead over on second. Here's the pitch. It's tapped back to the box. Mahalam looks Hall back over at second, makes the throw to first, and it's out number 1.
Nice play by Maholm. I'll tell you, that was good base running by Billy Hall. Your natural reaction, a ball hit to your left as a base runner, you try to get to third base, but he had to hold up and make sure it went through the pitcher. Obviously, Maholm jumps up and keeps that ball in front of him, and the runner can't advance.
So Hall able to get back. He'll stay over on second base with 1 out here in the second inning, and this is Jason Kendall. The fans have a bit of a rude reaction for Kendall, who was front and center on that skirmish the other day there, Jim, between these two clubs.
He's trying to protect his pitcher, Chris Smith. Smith had hit Carson's on a first pitch fastball inside. Some people thought it was retributions when Carson's hit Ryan Braun earlier in the season.
0-1 pitch on the way. That's foul, tipped back down into the dirt. The count moves to 0-2.
In that fight, Carson's obviously was upset, visibly upset, and was yelling. And Kendall, of course, being the catcher, trying to restrain the pitcher from going after his pitcher. And then, of course, the bench is cleared after that.
I tell you what, though, it speaks volumes of how you hear players say that they have memories that can last a lifetime. That's exactly, if that's in fact the case, which I would certainly be surprised.
I've seen it many times.
Yeah,
seen it many times, where you'll have a, you may not have any type of retribution. When Braun got hit at the time, the feeling is that you don't want to end time in some place.
Right.
Maybe later, future date, you'll see some kind of retaliation, and of course that's what I think most people would feel, that was retaliation the other night.
We've got looks at Joe Kerrigan, the Pirates side, as well as Ken Maka for the Milwaukee Brewers. Kendall fouls that off the inside part of his thigh, so ruled a foul ball, 0-2 the count.
Part of that fight, a little bit of that is frustration at how much the Brewers have handled the Pirates over the years, over the past 12 months.
Ooh, one more look at that shows just where Jason Kendall got hit. Dangerous spot. Still down to one of the few that A, chokes up on the bat, B, uses no batting gloves. But Kendall going to go down on strikes this time around. Mahalam gets him with the off-speed pitch, and there's quickly 2 outs with Hall still over at second.
Mahalam's showing a real good breaking ball here again. He buries his curveball against the right-hander down and in. That's a tough pitch to hit for Jason Kendall. He swings right over it.
And a key at bat right there to get Kendall out, because now with a runner on second, that brings up the pitcher Jeff Suppan. So Mahalam will have an opportunity to try to get out of this with just 1 run allowed. Off-speed pitch misses, the count's 1-0. Suppan certainly not a threat in this situation, although you never know. Hall with an RBI double earlier in the inning. One the count.
One thing that stands out about the Brewers, they have been able to generate runs this year. We talked about this early in the broadcast. They're 4th in runs scored in the National League, despite being 10th in the National League in batting average.
And that catches the corner, so the count now is a ball and 2 strikes. Jim, if you listen to every one of the stats that were thrown out, it really does explain why teams are where they are in the standings or what they're doing.
About runs scored and runs allowed.
Yeah.
If you can break it down, that's
every
simple.
one of your stats, I understand why Jim, the GM, is able to figure this all out.
I don't know. I can always figure it out. But it certainly leads a path to why the Brewers are where they are. I mean, they really have had a good season. They've fallen back here as of late, but still 2 games over 500. And like we said, 3 games out of the wild card.
I mean, I still think they're doing a very good job of weathering what was thought to be a really big storm because they lost Sabathia and Sheets off their rotation. But with that being said, I'm sure that they'd even like to be a little bit better in the standings than where they are as well.
Yeah, I think you really have to point to the pitching. Their offense is pretty well-rounded, but their pitching, in terms of their starting rotation in particular, 13th in innings pitched, putting a lot of pressure on the bullpen.
Yep.
14th in ERA, 11th in batting average against. You start to look at how many home runs they've allowed, and that's an area that I know we will talk about this later. Doug Melvin, they're trying to upgrade.
Well, Suppan putting together a nice at bat here. Still trails in the count 1-2, but fouls off several pitches. And fighting Mahalam here with 2 outs in the top half of the second.
Mahomes thrown 28 pitches so far, 22 strikes.
Always around the plate. A ball and 2 strikes to Suppan. Pitch on the way. That misses. The count moves even, 2-2. Jim, I guess you can also say good news for really all these teams, but the Brewers in particular with this conversation, that nobody in the Central wants to pull away. I mean, everybody's still there because every team has been hovering just above 500.
Yeah, I don't think it is a mediocre division. I think they're very well, evenly balanced.
Lifted it to shallow right center field. McCutchen and Young both there. Young able to make the play for the final out of the inning. But the Brewers able to put another run up on the board thanks to the RBI double off the bat of Bill Hall. It is a 2-2 score as we move to the bottom half of the second. This is MLB.TV. about how there was a deep ball from Jeff Karstens to Ryan Braun. That was back in Milwaukee earlier in the season. And the Brewers, well, they certainly didn't forget. Braun was upset with it at the time. And then the other night, game 1 of the series, Karstens at the plate, very much in the similar position. Karstens not happy with it. Kendall got involved, and that's when the 2 benches cleared. So, Jim, we have seen that these 2 teams have long memories.
Well, you certainly do. And I like this particular move. This is like it was in the old days, where you could go ahead and retaliate against the pitcher himself. Rather than retaliating against one of the other position players, you actually have a chance to hit the guy who you feel hit your best player.
Great shot there at the end with Joe Kerrigan and Ken Maka talking. Kerrigan, the pitching coach, very disappointed in the entire situation, even more so than John Russell in that video right there, wondering why his pitcher was just hit.
Kerrigan obviously protecting his pitcher. I like what Maka has done. You know, this is one of those things that the players don't forget, and neither did Ken Maka. Not that Ken Maka is out there advocating hitting one of the pitchers, but he's sending a clear message. You hit one of our guys, we're going to retaliate.
Bottom half of the second inning of play, a 2-2 score between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jeff Suppan back to work. First pitch swinging by Andy LaRoche and fouled out of play. We'll continuously keep an eye on some of the news as well, too. We mentioned that Andy's brother Adam not in the lineup today for the Pirates, and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reporting that Adam LaRoche has been traded to the Boston Red Sox. That is not official as of yet. When we get word, we'll pass it along to you. But nevertheless, with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reporting on it, we will, in fact, let you know of it. The 0-2 pitch to LaRoche. In the dirt, 1-2.
Obviously, one of those unique situations where brothers playing on the same team. I got a chance to talk to both of them in spring training and how they like to work with each other and kind of help each other at the major league level. Their father, major league pitcher, Dave LaRoche. So it is one of those unique situations. So certainly Andy would be affected just as much as Adam.
Line sharply down to the first base side, and a beautiful grab by Prince Fielder. A line drive grab by the first baseman for out number 1.
Well, nice defensive play here by Prince Fielder. Line drive shot down at first base. Prince looked like he his footwork's going a little bit the other way. No, I guess I take that back. He had a nice little reaction. I thought he might have been sliding a little towards second base, but he made a nice reaction and a nice diving stab.
So some flashy defense by the Brewers here in the bottom of the second. It gives them that first out, and here's Ramon Vasquez, the shortstop for Pittsburgh.
Prince a little lighter these days and able to move around the bag a little bit better than he used to.
Jeff Suppan very appreciative of the situation as well. Vasquez in the ball game here today as the shortstop. .237 average, just 1 home run and 10 RBIs on the season. The 1-1 is lifted into left field, pretty shallow. Coming on though is Braun, and there to make the play for out number 2. Well, you know that the Pirates are going to be mentioned as sellers throughout this entire trade deadline. When Nate McLouth was traded, Adam LaRoche was one of the firecrackers on that team that kind of came out and mentioned that he was not pleased with the decision, was kind of upset with the front office. Now, of course, he hears his name as well, too. First pitch is in there for a strike to Mahalam.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation the Pirates are in because they're still in a state of transition. You have Freddie Sanchez's name is mentioned. You obviously have Jack Wilson's name has been mentioned in trade rumors. Obviously, Nate McLouth has already been traded. He was a guy that they were supposed to be building around. So a guy like LaRoche, you know, if he's moved here as well, you know, I can understand why the Pirates are in that, you know, state in that clubhouse. Hey, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to battle. We're trying to get ourselves back on track and get towards that 500 mark, but it seems like we keep taking steps backwards.
From a fan standpoint who has seen this organization lose for so many years, it's a proud organization, a very historic organization. They have one of the best ballparks, and you'll hear that routinely from everyone who visits in all of Major League Baseball. A lot of baseball got to see it firsthand in the All-Star game in 2006. And all it's missing right now is a team that's more competitive. Having bad years, Jim, is not something that is a disappointing thing to hear for a fan. But having as many as they have consecutively, was it 1992
Since
or
1992, that's right. They've been under 500 ever since. That was in the Jim Leland, Barry Bonds days.
Strike three, so down on strikes is Paul Mahala. But 1-2-3 inning for Jeff Suppan. We move to the top of the third, all knotted up at 2 apiece between the Brewers and the Pirates. This is MLB.TV. Yet another of the reasons why the ballpark has the look and the feel that it does. You see the Clemente Bridge out in center field, beyond center field, obviously, going over the river and towards downtown Pittsburgh. Just a fabulous view from anywhere in the stands of this ballpark. Well, PNC Park is up there in the ranks as one of the nicer settings to watch a baseball game. But as we mentioned, they're just missing some of those winning seasons to back it up right now.
When they first built the ballpark, that first season in this new park in PNC, they tried to spend a lot of money. They tried to go after what a lot of teams do when they move into a new stadium, which is to field a competitive team. They had a lot of season ticket holders buying season tickets, and that team fell flat. And really, that plan since that point in time has really gone awry. They've tried a couple different ways, and they've continued to try to go young. If you look at their outfield, which we'll get into a little bit later, their outfield last year completely different, changed over from last year to this year.
Yeah, we can even compare the two teams necessarily. Let's stick with Pittsburgh for just a second, because you mentioned Freddie Sanchez and what he has been able to accomplish in a Brewer uniform, in a Pirate uniform rather, and also Jack Wilson up the middle. Sanchez is one of those names that continues on the block, but he says that he'd prefer to stay in Pittsburgh. And sometimes you'll hear a player voice their opinion about wanting to leave, but for Sanchez in Pittsburgh, he likes the fit so far.
He's been a productive player for them when he's been healthy, and obviously not making a huge salary, 6.1 this year. He has a vesting option for 8 next year. What the proposal was, they both offered, the Pirates offered both Sanchez and Wilson 2-year contracts. What they offered Sanchez was to rip up the contract dollar amount next year and really rework that a little bit so it made sense from a payroll standpoint. They both have rejected those contract offers, those 2-year deals, and so that kind of leaves them in a little bit of limbo whether they'll be traded or not.
For a strike, a called strike, and strike three. So down on strikes for the first out of the inning is Corey Hart. Clearly, Jim, it appeared as if he might have been fooled on that. Here's one more look at this pitch. A beautiful pitch by Mahala.
Yeah, it took a fastball right down the heart of the plate. And usually, that's a sign he was looking breaking ball in that situation. You get fooled by a fastball.
Here's a look at Jack Wilson, the other part of that up-the-middle combination for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, he's been even a longer mainstay here in Pittsburgh, but he has voiced his displeasure at times just about being part of a team that constantly sees their players leave and hasn't been able to win. I don't think he's ever said anything, as far as I've been able to read or hear, about his displeasure with being in Pittsburgh, but just with what the organization has at times done. Cameron lifts it into center field. McCutchen is there, a very lazy fly ball. And there are now 2 outs in the inning. Ryan Braun coming up to the plate for the Milwaukee Brewers. He got the scoring started. Back in the top half of the first inning of play, Braun deposited a Paul Maholm pitch, an inside fastball, as you had mentioned, Jim. Nice job of turning on it into the left field seats, and the Brewers at that point had the 1-0 lead.
He's a power hitting threat, a home run hitting threat. Obviously, he hit his 18th home run. With he and Fielder, they are the two top young hitters in the National League in that 3 and 4 spot.
First pitch to Braun is in there for a strike. I have a question for you, Jim, about that little 1-2 punch. Is it better in comparison to maybe the best 1-2 punch in the AL, which is Morneau and Mauer, I guess you could argue?
Those are good comparisons, yeah. I mean, they're both, obviously you got two left-handed hitters versus a right and left. I like the difference in the righty-lefty combination versus going all left. But, I mean, both very good, both young hitters in both situations, both Minnesota and Milwaukee. I think that's a real good comparison.
You know what makes it so tough is if I asked you just of those four guys, who's the best hitter? I'm trying to think. I don't think I have an answer.
It's a tough
Everyone
call,
brings
yeah.
a great aspect of the game. I mean, Mauer, obviously, maybe he's the best average type guy, but Morneau might be the best all around. Fielder, the best power. Braun's in that mix. These are good players.
They're all very good. You can't go wrong with any one of them. Certainly. Like you said, it's really a matter of preference. Do you like the two left-handed hitters? Mauer, we talked about him on a previous broadcast, shown tremendous power this year where he hadn't previously. Morneau's an RBI machine, and so Fielder has been that way this year as well.
Braun swings over an off-speed pitch, and the count now is 2-2. Top of the third inning of play, it's a 2-2 score. Braun with the home run that started things off in the first for the Brewers. Ryan Doman has a 2-run shot for Pittsburgh in the bottom of the first, and then Bill Hall an RBI double. That's how our scoring has happened so far. Braun swings over again, another off-speed pitch. He's down on strikes. The throw to first will complete the out, and that will retire the side. We move to the bottom half of the third inning of play. It is a 2-2 score between Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. It's an exclusive of MLB.TV, and it's here on MLB.com. Almost looks like McCovey Cove Jr. out in Pittsburgh. And I tell you what, if a ball reaches the river out or over right field, that'll be some blast. As a matter of fact, you might have to wait until next half inning when Prince Fielder leads off. But the fans here in Pittsburgh right now enjoying a 2-2 tie between Milwaukee and Pittsburgh at PNC Park in an NL Central matchup.
Is that Tim out there? Looked like
you
Tim.
know him personally?
It looked like Tim out there, yeah.
I know you have a real connection with the fans. You've found that as you've made your way around Major League Baseball, that no matter the city, you have made a personal connection with the fans.
He looks recognizable.
The question is, will we ever see Jim out there in a raft?
No.
No?
No, you won't see me. The thought, no. The most you'll see me out there, I'll be watching somebody maybe. Will I see you out there? Ever?
Oh, I go out there. McCutchen lifts one into deep left field. Did he get enough? Up towards the wall and gone! Andrew McCutchen with a solo blast has given the Pirates the lead back once again. 3-2 here in the third.
Almost a similar location to where Paul Maholm's pitch went to Ryan Braun back in the first inning. This one was a fastball inside, trying to get inside on McCutchen's hands, and he showed real quick bat speed here. took the fastball in, hit it out to left field. Again, like you said earlier, not an easy place to hit the ball out of the ballpark and straight away left field.
Oh, a heck of a blast there by Andrew McCutchen. The Pirate lead is now 3-2. So long ball's leaving the yard in a hurry here. That's the third of the season for Andrew McCutchen. Freddie Sanchez is 0 for 1. He grounded out too short in his first time up. Pittsburgh 3, Milwaukee 2. Sharply hit in center field. Going back is Cameron. Does he have enough? Yes, he does. Mike Cameron, a nice over-the-shoulder grab for out number 1 here in the third.
Mike Cameron, still one of the top defenders in the National League in center field. He can still go get him in the outfield. You don't see him take many bad routes here. It looked like that's a tough ball to play, a line drive at him, but he held his ground and actually made a nice over-the-shoulder catch here.
One away in the inning, and Garrett Jones steps in. The first baseman walked and later scored. He came in on behalf of that 2-run shot by Ryan Doman, a batter later. Jones got the start today after Adam LaRoche's name was removed from the lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Jones gets into one and hits it deep to right field. This ball is gone! A home run for Garrett Jones, the second of the inning for the Pirates, and Pittsburgh takes a 4-2 lead here in the third.
Jeff Suppan having some trouble here early on. That's the third home run he's allowed in the game, and we're only in the third inning.
So Garrett Jones, another look at this one. He got all of that high pitch.
That's a high fastball up around the letters. And Jones did a nice job. Not much on that fastball, about 86 miles per hour. He takes it out deep to right.
I tell you what, something about what Suppan is doing is just not slipping it past the Brewers. The 6th home run now in 9 games for Garrett Jones. That'll get your name in the lineup a couple more times.
Suppan, like the Brewers pitchers, we talked about this earlier, they've been prone to the long ball this season. They continue to add to that total. Second in the league in the most home runs allowed in the National League.
Ryan Doman already a home run in this game. He's now ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Ball jumping here today at PNC Park. The 4th home run of the afternoon, 3 of them hit by Pittsburgh. Doman hits one deep into right field as well, too. Going back is hard. He looks up. The ball is gone. Well, now there is some confusion out in right field. Corey Hart's going to throw it back in. Doman is stopped over at second base. Jim, we might need another look at this one.
We might need an instant replay here.
Yeah. Umpire Wally Bell is going to discuss it with the other umpires. Did that ball clear the 21-foot right field wall at PNC Park?
When I saw it initially, I thought it was clearly a home run. And it looks like there that it was a home run.
Well, now you can see, though, there's a little bit of kind of the line goes up a little bit, I guess, for protection for the fans.
Yeah, did it hit the fan's hand? I thought it hit his hand. We're going to have an instant replay here on this one, I think.
Take one more look at it. Did the fan reach over and prevent that ball from going over? You see the yellow line. That's, of course, where the home run is.
See the fan reach out. I thought it initially hit a fan's hand and then went on to the field of play.
The umpires are convening. I believe they're going to have a review of this. They'll go check things out on the replay machine.
Get the boys in the truck doing some work out there in Pittsburgh.
How about that? Now, the part that's going to be tough to tell is the yellow line out in right field, Jim, it does not go entirely straight across. You see how it juts up a little bit? Because that's just the protective spot of the fence where fans would be walking in an aisle.
Right.
So that people have more protection and don't fall over the wall. Now, the fan that's reaching there, are they reaching over the tall part of that wall or over the shorter part of it? Does that make sense? Because if so, if it's over the shorter part, that ball might have cleared anyway. Here's another look at it.
Another view. Maybe hits not the person who reaches for it in the black jersey, but the person in the white jersey may have touched it instead.
I'll tell you what, I think this is the better angle. That
right
ball,
there, it looks like, yeah, that fan tried to catch it, hit off her hand.
Wow.
And went on to the field of play.
I got to tell you, sometimes I feel very decisive about a decision based on what I see in the replay. But this is going to be a tough call for the umpires. Would that ball have cleared no matter what? Here's another. This is a nice angle of it as well. Oh, that's the previous home run. That's the previous home run right there. No doubt about that one.
No doubt about that one. No doubt about that. But no, I mean, this is why instant replay it was instituted for calls like this.
Yes.
You know, today's modern ballparks, the angles and the sights and the proximity of the fan to the field, much more difficult for the umpires to make home run calls, whether they're fair or foul, or whether they're home runs, and whether there's fan interference. And I was a proponent of this as a general manager, and it had gotten some legs, obviously, last year, right in the middle of the season. We were able to institute instant replay for this particular situation. This is in a close game. We got to make sure that this call is right to the best of their abilities, because it has a potential outcome for the game.
The Pirate Parrot believes it's a home run. If it stands and it's a home run, then the Pirates will have taken a 5-2 lead. For Ryan Doumit, it would be his second home run of the game, again, if it stands.
It would be the third home run of the inning and back-to-back home runs. Garrett Jones, at the previous at-bat, had hit the home run.
And it is called a home run by Wally Bell. Well, I tell you what, Jim.
Nice work on the cameras there.
Great work on the crew here with, we at MLB.com. We are providing this game for you. And a big reason for that is just for this reason, for the use of instant replay. So it is an MLB.TV exclusive. We get to bring you the replay, and because of it, the umpires are able to take a look at what our cameras caught, and a great job by the crew and able to get that together. And a home run is the call. So for Ryan Doumit, it's his second home run of the game. For the Pirates, it's their fourth home run of the game.
Just getting back to that instant replay, I thought that second view that we were able to see, more of a head-on shot of the home run, that to me was, I think, made it more decisive for me that it was a home run. It actually looked like a hit off the fan in the white jersey for a home run, where the other one you weren't quite sure.
Wow, that's... Every once in a while, you see it. Every once in a while, you see it where you'll have a call that, all right, they'll look at the replay and they'll be able to tell. That one was one of the closer ones that we've seen so far. But for Ryan Doumit, his first 2 home run game of his career. And Young able to put that just in between the hole over at short and third between Hardy and Bill Hall. So a 1-out single for Delvin Young.
The Pirates really are swinging the bat well in this game, and obviously this inning. Suppan has really been getting hit hard, with the exception of last inning where he got the 1-2-3 in the bottom of that inning. He's been hit hard at the top of the line. The first 6 hitters, 6 hits, 4 home runs.
That was Seth McClung you were taking a look at there out the bullpen for the Milwaukee Brewers. If in fact the Brewers have to go to that bullpen, that'd be a disappointing day for Jeff Suppan. It already is, really, to this point anyway. We have a 5-2 Pittsburgh lead, and we're only in the 3rd inning. He has worked just 2 1/3 so far. There's a look at Seth McClung. McClung offers long relief. He could be a starter, be a shorter reliever. He's really a pretty versatile guy.
He's very versatile. He's been erratic so far this year, but he's a guy that can give you length. Obviously, he can give you multiple innings, 2, maybe even 3 innings. He used to be a starter in the minor leagues in Tampa Bay.
Brandon Moss looks at an 87-mile-an-hour pitch for a ball. The count's 1-0.
That 87-mile-an-hour fastball is an indication of what Suppan has been really all day. 86, 87 miles an hour, and without any kind of movement, without keeping the ball down in the strike zone, any good major league hitting team is going to hit him hard. That's what's happening so far today.
Young back over at first. 4 home runs in this game. Ryan Doumit with 2 of them, and Garrett Jones and Andrew McCutchen the others for Pittsburgh. The 5th home run overall hit came off the bat of a Brewer, Ryan Braun, in the first. Just misses.
What makes these home runs so odd for me, Pittsburgh, in terms of home runs, are 14th in the National League in home runs. 67 home runs on the season. Here they are, they hit 4 in this game so far.
The 2-0 pitch. Foul back into the screen.
Brandon Moss, we talked about the acquisition, one of the acquisitions from the Red Sox. Earlier in the season, back in June when we did a broadcast, he was working on ironing out some of his mechanical flaws there with hitting coach Don Long. Seems like he's got himself a little bit on track, not to the expectations of what the Pirates feel, but certainly got himself hitting the ball a little bit better.
Moss lifts one into center field. A couple steps back for Mike Cameron. He makes the play, and Delvin Young will head back to first for the out. So 2 away here in the inning. Jim, I'll tell you, our crew told us that the replay took 2 minutes and 31 seconds. When replay was first introduced, the only problem I really had with it at the time was, based on watching how it was executed in the NFL, is it took forever. It took forever, and I still never felt like the right decision was made, and nor could it ever be explained. Here it seems to always be much shorter, and also usually much easier to explain. Right there, 2 minutes and 31 seconds for that replay.
You know, and the thing I like about it also is it keeps both managers in the dugout. You're not having one of the managers come out and say, well, that wasn't a home run. Well, yes, it was, and there's fan interference. No, it wasn't. And you have the big argument, and usually lasts 5, 6, 7 minutes. You end up throwing out the manager. Both managers stay in the dugout and say, hey, we're going to review it and find it. We're going to get the right answer, boys. Hang on. You know, be patient.
You've seemingly played that out in your head once more. Throw over to first, and fielder there to make the play and the tag of Andy LaRoche. But the Pirates offense comes through in a big way. First, Andrew McCutchen's 3rd of the year. Then Garrett Jones, 6th in 9 games. And then Ryan Doumit, through the use of replay, it's confirmed he has the 3rd home run of the inning for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh 5, Milwaukee 2. This is MLB.TV. A home run fest at PNC Park. The Pirates with 4 of the 5 shots that have left the yard, and because of it, a 5-2 lead right now heading into the top half of the 4th inning. The Pirates' 3-run third, all due to solo home runs. Andrew McCutchen, Garrett Jones, and Ryan Doumit, who hit his 2nd of the game. Beautiful look right there of the river in between the ballpark as well as downtown. Ball to the side, nearly caught by Adam LaRoche. Wow. Would have been a nice defensive play right there, but Prince Fielder leads off, and he's going to get a second life. One more look at this.
You know, one thing that LaRoche did not do, you're taught to get over as far as you can to that dugout railing and then find the ball. He didn't have enough time to get there. Made that a lot tougher. Obviously, you'd like to have him catch that ball. It's the one that I'm sure, would like to have back.
Well, Paul Maholm's been given a bit of a lead to work with here in the 4th against a very tough offense in the Milwaukee Brewers. Pitch to Fielder. Look like a slider, nice down and away. The count's now 1-2.
Getting some more details on that Adam LaRoche trade. We saw the shot of Andy. Adam LaRoche, multiple sources now saying that the Pirates are going to receive 2 prospects from the Red Sox. Shortstop Argenis Diaz and pitcher Hunter Strickland as part of that deal for Adam LaRoche. Adam LaRoche obviously going to Boston to play first base. Interesting what they're going to do there at first base. That means Mike Lowell probably gets a little bit more time off.
So Prince Fielder down on strikes for out number 1 of the inning. Second baseman Casey McGee makes his way in. Adam LaRoche's numbers on the season, he'll bring a little bit of pop. 247 average might be a little bit lower than we're used to seeing out of Adam LaRoche, but again, the reports suggest that Adam LaRoche, who was pulled from the lineup, has been traded to the Boston Red Sox.
Certainly an interesting situation. You don't usually see a player hanging around the dugout in a trade like this. If he has been traded, which it sounds like he has, he's not of use for the Pirates. They can't use him in the ball game today. And usually they take time to go ahead and pack up their belongings and get things together and then head off to the team. Interesting when you start to think about where LaRoche might play and how he gets at bats in that Boston Red Sox lineup. I mean, they have, they'll give them added depth, obviously, in that lineup and give guys some more time off.
McGee lifts it into left field. And the play is made by Moss. 2 away.
You talk about LaRoche, if he plays, he's pretty good defensively at first base. Euclid maybe plays a little bit more third. Lowell's battled that hip problem this year. David Ortiz has had struggles offensively on occasion, although it looks like he's starting to swing the bat better. Maybe there's that combination where they start to get at bats between first and DH, and Euclid goes between first and third.
Here's Bill Hall. Hall with an RBI double. It came in the second inning, and at the time, it tied the score up at 2 apiece. For a strike. Holland showing a little more zip on that fastball. 91 on the gun. 1-1 the count.
And notice that on the fastball, Vinny, try to go inside to any hitter, especially a guy like Hall who has a quick bat. You have to get a little bit more on the fastballs.
2 balls and a strike to Hall. 5 home runs in the game. 4 of them hit by the Pittsburgh Pirates. 2-1 in the dirt. Maybe Tim out in right field has a shot today if he's still sitting out in the Allegheny. Maybe he does have a shot to catch a home run ball.
It sure looked like Tim out there. Was that the kayak today?
It's the kayak.
Wasn't the rowboat?
3-1 upstairs, ball 4. Wasn't the what?
The rowboat. He's usually out there in a rowboat, Tim.
I think that was a kayak. I think he could have flipped over and back. What I thought was odd about the, we could talk about the home run derby as well, too. Prince Fielder, obviously the winner of the 2009 home run derby at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. I thought it was kind of odd that there were balls that left the yard and the park and went into the Allegheny River in Pittsburgh. But when it was highly promoted and made a big deal of in 2007, a year later, not one ball left the yard and went into McCovey Cove in San Francisco.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Maybe the air was a little heavy that day. As we sit here, we've talked a lot about trade and trade names on the trade rumor front. Here's a name for the Brewers that's come up as a trade bait, potentially. J.J. Hardy. The Brewers have highly regarded Alcides Escobar at shortstop down in AAA. And it's been thought and talked about in the past that J.J. Hardy would be in it with a potential trade. Last year his name was mentioned in a potential George Sherrill trade of the Orioles closer, and bring up Escobar. certainly gives the Brewers some options if they need to upgrade. They could move Hardy or Escobar, although Doug Melvin, the GM, says Escobar is not available.
Bill Hall, in the attempted steal, will have to make his way back due to the foul ball. But, you know, Jim, you're right, though, because J.J. Hardy was once that guy. That was coming up to replace somebody. And now, after some time, he has seen his name become a little bit kind of bantered around there through that Milwaukee clubhouse as potential trade bait. He went from being the man to now potentially being traded in order to bring up the next man.
Yeah, and that happens. I mean, he has value out there. He's only making $4.6 million, not a ton of money. He's arbitration eligible. He's not signed, so it's not an awful contract. And where he hasn't been as maybe productive offensively as you would like, he still has double figures in home runs this year.
5-2 Pittsburgh out in front. Bill Hall over on first. 2 outs here at the top of the fourth. A 1-2 count to J.J. Hardy. Paul Maholm on the hill for Pittsburgh. The pitch. Well, just missed the inside half of the plate. The count moves even. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Maholm's really done a nice job. You take a look at after the double to Hall in the second inning, nobody out. He's retired 8 of the last 9. That walk was the first base runner that he allowed since the second inning.
Another check over to Hall at first base. Pittsburgh sitting in last place right now in the Central, 8.5 games back. Did not get a piece of it, but it skips wide. They'll make the throw, though, for effect, and Hardy is down on strike. So we move to the bottom half of the fourth inning of play. Paul Maholm into a bit of a groove right now, and a 5-2 Pittsburgh lead. This is MLB.TV. Really not a bad seat in the house at PNC Park, where the Pirates play their home ball games. Pittsburgh, 8.5 games back in the division. Milwaukee comes into today's action 2 games back, all of St. Louis. St. Louis, 51 wins on the year, and currently heads up in the National League Central. Pittsburgh 5, Milwaukee 2. A nice sized crowd on hand here in Pittsburgh for the getaway day between Milwaukee and Pittsburgh. 2 teams have split the first 2 games of the series. Pretty rare considering how the Pirates have been manhandled by Milwaukee as of late. Coming up here in the bottom half of the inning, Ramon Vasquez to lead things off. Paul Maholm then back to the top of the order with Andrew McCutchen. Vasquez 0 for 1 so far today with a fly ball out. The 1-0 pitch from Suppan. That's in there for a strike. Well, we know that the Pirates are certainly going to hear their names all the way up through the trade deadline. We've talked about that. We've said that right now, unconfirmed reports that Adam LaRoche has been traded to the Boston Red Sox already this morning. In addition, Freddie Sanchez, some other names in the block as well, too. The Brewers in a different position. They're trying to get back to where they were last year, Jim, and that's the playoffs. And because of that, they need to add to their depth. Felipe Lopez was their acquisition earlier in the week, and the guy that so far provides that depth that the Brewers might be needing.
Yeah, he has a little bit of a tight hammy today. That's why he's not in the lineup, but obviously got off to a great start in his debut here with the Brewers, going 4 for 4 the other night. He's an on-base percentage guy, second best on-base percentage in the National League, which adds to the potency of that lineup for the Brewers. You know, if I'm trying to improve the Brewers here for the stretch run, they really need to find another arm. In my opinion, that starting staff in particular, we talked about it a little bit. Starting staff is a little bit weaker. There's the numbers here on Lopez. This is his 6th team in 8 seasons. Generally speaking, he's not a bad kid, but when you bounce around like that, you can get a reputation as a player not being, a guy that gets along with his teammates. I think in this particular case, he bounced around a little bit because he was a little bit uncertain in his career. Now he's starting to get a home again as a second baseman, previously as a shortstop.
Well, there's a look at Casey McGee, who's over at second base right now for the Brewers, but it'll be he and Lopez will probably split much of the time over at second base, because Lopez can play in several positions on the diamond, but second base perhaps his strong suit, Jim.
Yeah, I think you'll see him play mostly second. I mean, he's obviously with a shortstop as well. McGee, playing some second base because of the little slight hammy strain that Ken Monka talked about prior to the game. It gives them a little bit of flexibility, obviously, with Craig Counsell as well to play some third, because Billy Hall has been ineffective offensively so far this year.
So Lopez getting a watch from the Brewer dugout for today's game, but he sees his team trailing by a score of 5-2 right now, the bottom half of the 4th. When teams win and go deep into the playoffs, it's not always that big name. Now, CC Sabathia was the big move last year at this time for the Brewers. And obviously, you can't argue with what he did and the results that the Brewers got. But depth is also needed as Mahalam lays one down. The throw, though, is to second. It's in time. Back to first. Not in time. Jason Kendall went to second to get the out and the lead runner. Mahalam just makes it aboard, so there's one away.
Mahalam's bunt just didn't get off the dirt. I mean, he tried to sacrifice. Kendall did a nice job coming out from behind the plate, caught the ball before it got to the grass, and in one motion threw the ball to second base and got the lead runner. They almost turned 2 on this play. Nice play by Kendall there with a strong throw to second base.
Now very close over at first. The safe call was made, but real bang-bang type of play, and the Brewers defense almost comes away with a very pretty double play. But nevertheless, one away here at the bottom of the 4th, now the top of the order back up.
It was almost a rare 2-6-4 double play. 2-6-4, man.
That is fairly rare.
Yeah.
I don't write that down often in my scorecard.
Not very often. I score a lot of games, I don't see that.
Andrew McCutchen is up, and if anything, it'll clog the base paths just a little with Paul Mahalam over at first base now running. And that's good news for Milwaukee, because McCutchen has plenty of speed. Andrew McCutchen with a home run. There's 5 of them already hit so far today for the Pittsburgh Pirates. 5 home runs hit by this club, and we're only in the bottom of the 4th right now. Laced into left field for a base hit. So now first and second, and again, good news, because McCutchen not a threat to steal with Mahalam in front of him. One away.
Suppan is not fooling many Pirate hitters today. There's another off-speed pitch, hanging breaking ball. McCutchen does a nice job of staying back on that ball. It's a sharp single to left field. He has swung the bat well here these last 2 at-bats.
So McCutchen so far putting together a nice 2 for 3 day. And now it appears as if we're going to get a double switch. Ken Monka discussing a double switch right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Jeff Suppan has not been effective in this ball game, and it appears as if he is going to come out. 5-2, Pittsburgh out in front of the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll have it all for you when we return at PNC Park. A 5-2 lead for Pittsburgh on MLB.tv. Jeff Suppan out of the game for the Milwaukee Brewers. There'll be a new pitcher and a double switch that we'll tell you about in a moment. But for Jeff Suppan, just 3 1/3. He still has some runners left on the base paths right now, though. For Jim, you kind of hit on the head. The Pirates were not fooled by Suppan today.
He really didn't look like he had much of anything today. His fastball, 86, 87 miles an hour. He was up in the strike zone. Did not pitch well at all today, and really didn't fool many hitters.
Into the ball game, Craig Counsell is part of the double switch for the Milwaukee Brewers. Seth McClung on the hill now in place of Suppan. So it's a double switch, and essentially J.J. Hardy is now out of the game for the Brewers. There's Craig Counsell. He'll take over at shortstop. Hardy was the last out of the previous inning, so Counsell will take the pitcher's spot in the order and will actually be up second next inning. So that's the reason for the double switch there by Ken Maka. Made plenty of sense, and he will go to McClung here in the bottom of the 4th with runners on first and second and 1 away. Take a look at Seth McClung and what he's accomplished so far this year. Probably a little bit more walks than he'd like to have, Jim, but again, a big right-handed pitcher that get the ball up on you in a hurry.
That's the guy, he's like you said, big right-hander. Size is what stands out. He's 6'9" right-hander. They've toyed around. They haven't been able to find a role for him. Starting pitcher, sometimes relief pitcher. Tampa Bay in his career thought he might be a closer. Then they tried to put him back in the starting rotation. But he's been a little bit erratic this year. They need to get him. He or Carlos Villanueva, one of those two, they need to get back on track in that bullpen so they don't overuse the other relievers.
So Ken Maka makes the move. It's a 5-2 advantage right now for Pittsburgh. The Pirates looking to add on more to that with runners on first and second. The pitch to Sanchez. That's in there for a strike. 2-2.
Ken Maka getting some early work in today in his managerial style. I like Maka. He's not known for being a tyrant. His management style is more of a laid-back approach. And he's had a nice positive impact on the Brewers this year in replacing Dale Swain and Ned Yost from last year.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Still the count now to Sanchez. Bottom half of the 4th inning of play with 1 out. Mahalam over on second, Andrew McCutchen on first. The pitch. And Sanchez does not offer. The count moves full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, McClung's fastball, not what it normally is. I've seen his fastball in the mid-90s before, so this might be one of those things where he's not quite loose or ready. You know, didn't have a ton of time to get himself warmed up. Obviously, Suppan got knocked around a little bit in the second inning. Or maybe he's not quite ready. Once he does get loose, you'll start to see that heavy 94 to 95 out of the fastball.
He's got a 3-2 pitch coming right here to Sanchez on the way. Swinging a miss, strike 3. And almost on cue right there, Jim. He comes through with a big fastball to pick up the strikeout. 2 outs.
His first couple fastballs weren't in that mid-90s range, more like 91. But now you get 3-2 count. Freddie Sanchez obviously disgusted at that at bat, but that's a fastball he just blew him away. Fastball on the outside corner. Might have been a little outside, but Sanchez had to protect it.
Well, an RBI opportunity goes by the wayside there for Freddie Sanchez, and he'll leave it up to Garrett Jones. Jones, though, has reached base twice, once on a walk when he scored, and the next time up, a home run. Big swing there at the first pitch, and it's fouled on a play 0-1.
Now you see that fastball, 94, 95. It looks like McClung is
like
loosened up after
coming.
7 pitches or so, yeah. 5 or 6, that's not unusual sometimes. You got to know the animal. I've seen McClung a little bit in the American League before being traded over here to the Brewers.
Pitch to Jones in the dirt. The count moves to 1-1. 2 other games in action right now. The New York Yankees looking to continue their winning ways. Haven't lost since the All-Star break. Have an early 4-0 lead in the 3rd over Baltimore. Chicago and Philadelphia underway at Citizens Bank Park. No score there in the 3rd as well. 3 ball games all starting in just a little over an hour. Arizona, Colorado, Florida, and San Diego, and Oakland playing host to Minnesota. So some day action here around the major leagues. Fastball swing and a miss by Jones, 1-2.
Yankees been the big surprise here as of late. They've picked up 5 games on the Red Sox. The Red Sox were in first place. They've fallen into second place, 1 game back. The Yankees today in first place, first time this year since the very beginning part of the season.
Tampa Bay still sitting just a couple games out, 4.5 back of New York in the division. A 52-42 record. And Jones is down on strikes. So McClung comes in and able to limit the damage. Jeff Suppan just simply didn't have it on this day, and because of it, the Pirates own a 5-2 lead as we move to the 5th at PNC Park on MLB.tv. The Pirates own a 5-2 lead, and defensively, the Pirates' pitching has been strong. Paul Maholm has gotten several strikeouts this afternoon. I believe 5 in total, Jim, and the reason for it has been that big breaking pitch.
That's been his out pitch today. As you talked about, I mean, he struck out 4 of the 5 hitters on breaking balls, several of them, 2 of them in particular, in the dirt. Sharp breaking curveballs that the hitters just can't stay off of. They're swinging over that pitch in the dirt, end up with 4 strikeouts in the dirt on that curveball.
Paul Maholm, there you see his line so far, 4 innings of work, 3 hits and 2 runs, both of them earned so far today, and those 5 strikeouts. I tell you what, once you strike out Billy Crystal in a spring training game, the major league hitters then just become cake.
It's much easier. Billy Crystal is a very difficult hitter to face. Very intimidating.
He looked it. Once he dropped the slider on him, that Crystal almost fell. Popped up, first base side. Here's Jones, makes the play.
So that was pitch swinging right there, Jason Kendall. Sorry about that. You know, the one thing that the Brewers need to do, in my opinion, is to try to run this pitch count up on Paul Maholm. I think he dominated them here since that second inning. We talked about that earlier, Billy Hall's double. Since then, he's only allowed 1 base runner. That was the walk to Hall in the 4th.
Here's Craig Counsell. Counsell in with the double switch. Took over for J.J. Hardy when Seth McClung came into the game. So now Counsell in the number 9 spot in the order.
Counsell, one of those guys that you'd love to have your team made up of. Craig Counsell, in terms of the makeup, the guy that's had a long career, sometimes as an everyday player, and then other times as kind of a part-time player that can play multiple positions. He's a real valuable guy to have on your ball club. Obviously today comes in at short, but he can also play second and third.
Counsell tried somewhat of a drag bunt on that previous pitch. Now he's down in the hole 1-2. Maholm into the windup, deals. Hit in between short and third, just in front of Moss out in left field for a single. So a 1-out hit for Craig Counsell.
Nice piece of hitting there by Craig Counsell. Looked like he took that breaking ball, pitch that a lot of hitters have been having a hard time with today, and stayed with it. A little bit of, I think it might have been a slider, and took the pitch away and flicked it into left field for a base hit.
One more look at it. As Craig Counsell able to deliver the single with one out here at the top of the fifth. Corey Hart is 0 for 2 so far today. Grounded out to third in the first, and then struck out looking back in the third. Mahalam will check it first, and here's the pitch. Up and away, the count's 2-0.
Hart, a little bit of an unusual leadoff guy. I think another reason why the Brewers acquired Felipe Lopez is take a look at Hart. His on-base percentage is in the low 300s. Felipe Lopez, as we talked about earlier, second in the National League in on-base percentage.
Three balls, no strikes, the count. And the pitch to Hart. That's in there for a strike. I tell you, Jim, the Pirate outfield is certainly not in no doubles defense. They are giving plenty of room on the lines for Corey Hart to work it. Look at the amount of distance between the left fielder and the left field line and the right fielder and the right field line. And ball 4 to Hart, so now to be first and second.
Yeah, interesting there. You would think with a right-handed hitter, you might see, who doesn't have an overpowering fastball, you'd think you'd see the outfield shifted a little bit more towards left field and maybe even a little bit deeper the way the ball's been flying out there today.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be that they're not, they haven't positioned themselves to pull yet. Now let's see where they go on camera here.
Well, you know what also surprises me? I mean, they're so tight out in the outfield. What surprises me more, my first thought is Andrew McCutchen's probably the fastest guy on that field, out in center field. He really can cover most of where those guys are standing. Yet there's plenty of room. I mean, they've got the gaps right now. The outfielders in left and right field have the gaps. And McCutchen, who is right there, he's the fastest guy on that field. You'd think he'd be able to cover plenty of distance out in center field, so you might want to cover the lines. But again, the defensive choice by the Pirates here in this fifth inning.
Sure, Moss and Young are the other corner outfielders. Obviously, Moss and left, Young and right. Then when Young has some pretty good speed, so he can track him down as well. And I remember when they still had Nyjer Morgan. We did the broadcast of the Pirates earlier in the season, and there was a wide gap between Nyjer Morgan and McCutchen between left and center because of the speed of those two guys. So this is a little bit unusual. You're right.
That's right.
And Cameron's a guy that can pull the ball down into that left field corner as well.
Well, Cameron represents the tying run here in the top of the fifth. It's a 5-2 Pirates lead. So Joe Kerrigan wanted to make sure to chat with Mahalam here in that potentially dangerous situation. Falling behind in the count.
Cameron, like Craig Counsell, one of those quality guys in the clubhouse, the team leaders. When you look at what Ken Maka is asking of his players in that clubhouse, he's looking for leadership. Mike Cameron is one of those players that will provide.
Nice fastball there past Cameron. The count's 2-1.
I had a chance to talk to Cameron, as I mentioned earlier. I had a chance to talk to him the other day. One of the things he said about the team in general, about their chances for the playoffs, he says, we've defeated ourselves at times this year, whether it's not getting the runner over, not getting him in, and we need to stop doing that. And obviously, we'd like to get another arm if they could, which we talked about as well. The starting rotations had some struggles at the back end. So it was a pretty good evaluation of his own ball club.
Yeah, honest one. A couple of the Brewers pitchers just hanging out watching the ball game, waiting for their turn of the rotation to come around. The 3-1. That's down low, so now the bases are loaded. So Cameron aboard.
Mahalam struggling a little bit here with his command. This inning having a little bit of trouble locating his fastball. He's walked the last 2 hitters.
No work in the Pirate bullpen right now. Let's take a look at the rest of those Brewers starters ever since CC Sabathia and Ben Sheets moved on. And I tell you what, as a whole, really you take away a little bit of the high ERAs. Yovani Gallardo's record should probably be better, but the the starting rotation's probably gotten more out of it than most people thought with CC and Sheets gone.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, Doug Melvin has talked about his rotation with an ace in Gallardo and then 4 of a kind after that. When you look at Suppan and Looper and Bush and Parp, Bush was out with an arm injury, so that added more pressure to the starting rotation. But they've all been about the same, with the exception of Gallardo. Gallardo's the only guy there. He went 8 times 7+ innings. Every other pitcher, in terms of innings pitched, have been 6 innings or less. They're 13th in all of baseball in what they're getting out of the starting rotation in terms of innings pitched. It's an area that they definitely have to improve on. Manny Parra spent some time in the minor leagues, went down to figure things out. He's having command problems at the major league level, so that has been an area that they are trying to improve on. We heard over the weekend the Brewers were one of about 7 teams in Toronto to visit with Roy Halladay. They sent their top evaluator in, Dick Grosh, and assistant GM Gord Ash to go see Halladay.
That'd be a tough move for the Brewers, considering that they gave away several of their top prospects, including Matt Laporta, who was the big one, to Cleveland last season in order to get CC Sabathia. Would they have enough, arguably more, to be able to go and get Roy Halladay?
Well, they're one of the teams that has depth in their system. Doug Melvin, the GM, has come out and said on a couple of different occasions that he would not part with Alcides Escobar, the shortstop, their top prospect, or Matt Gamble, the third baseman, another top prospect. So when you start to look at that and you take those 2 top guys off the board, and it becomes increasingly more difficult to trade for a guy of Halladay's caliber.
Laced into left field. This is going to get down and into the corner. Past Brandon Moss. 1 run scores. 2 runs will score. Cameron is being waved around as well. The throw comes into the plate, not in time. A 3-run double. And the Milwaukee Brewers have tied this one up at 5 apiece.
Well, nice piece of hitting here with 2 strikes for Ryan Braun. Looks like he took a breaking ball, and we talked about the positioning of the outfielders for the Pirates. Here's a time where he drills it down left field line. Instead of playing it straight away like we were talking about, it allows Cameron, who's at first base, to score all the way from first on a double, where if he's playing where we thought he should have been playing, maybe he keeps Cameron at third base without having him score the time.
Fielder fouls went off, so Mahalam, who we spoke well of entering the inning, has run into some trouble here in the top half of the 5th. A 3 spot up on the board. Ryan Braun responsible for 4 of the 5 runs driven in right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. 3 right there with that double and a home run in the first. He's having himself a nice afternoon.
Mahalam's been snake bit by that walk. You don't usually see him walk hitters like he has. He obviously walked back-to-back guys, and Hart and Cameron, and both guys end up scoring.
Joel Hanrahan out in the bullpen right now for the Pittsburgh Pirates, warming up quickly. The 1-1. Skied into deep center field. Andrew McCutchen going straight back, just shy of the track. Now a foot back on the warning track there to make the catch. Braun will tag up from second to third, but it's the second out of the inning here for the Milwaukee Brewers.
I'll tell you what, Prince Fielder got a nice swing on that breaking ball. Looks like he just missed it. It's a towering fly ball to center field.
One more look at this pitch from Mahalam.
A bit of a hanging, I thought a hanging breaking ball, and Fielder put a good swing on that. McCutchen gets it right on the warning track.
It looked as if Fielder did a nice job of adjusting to the off-speed pitch, but then because of it lost a little bit of his power. He'll leave it up to Casey McGee. McGee up here with 2 outs. He's 1 for 2. Braun over on third. Milwaukee a 3 spot to tie it here in the inning at 5 apiece. Well, Prince Fielder, you always got to worry every time he gets into that box that he could go deep. He showed that in the Home Run Derby, becoming the champion. He's shown that just in general by living the yard as often as he does. The 1-1. That's hit hard into left center field. McCutcheon going back. So is Moss. And that ball's gone. What a shot by Casey McGee. It must have just kept rising and rising because that goes over the deep part of left center field. A 2-run home run, and the Brewers have now scored 5 times in the inning. It's 7-5 Milwaukee.
Well, we see the replay here. This was really a nothing fastball. Tried to get inside on McGee, and he crushes it to center field, a little bit left of center field. Boy, this game has gotten out of hand in a hurry in terms of not being able to. These are 5 unanswered runs here by the Brewers. Maholm, like we talked about, was cruising until this inning, and all of a sudden he just seemed to lose all of his command and really lost some zip on his fastball.
That's the 6th home run hit in today's game. The 2nd home run hit by the Milwaukee Brewers. And now Maholm has just lost all control. Bill Hall on with a single. He has reached base all 3 times today, and that's going to do it for Paul Maholm, it appears. Well, I tell you, things just changed in a hurry there for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That McGee shot did not look like it was going to go as far as it did, and it was able to clear for the home run. But Maholm's day is done. Joel Hanrahan will make his way in. We'll have more on him and on the upcoming batters for the Brewers, who are now taking a 7-5 lead in the 5th on MLB.tv. For Paul Maholm, it was a very unsuccessful 5th inning. 4 2/3 right now is his line score. He has one man responsible as on first base, Bill Hall with the single. But boy, those numbers really changed in a hurry. We only spoke a inning ago about how he was pitching fairly well. His command was on, but it just fell apart for Maholm in the 5th, Jim.
He was cruising through 4. It's really his outing is a tale of two outings. His first 4 innings where he shut him down there after the 2nd inning. And then he got lit up in the 5th, couldn't get out of the 5th inning.
Joel Hanrahan steps in now for the Pittsburgh Pirates over in a trade from the Washington Nationals. You see his numbers, a high ERA of 7.47, but the strikeout to walk ratio is a little bit more promising as far as Hanrahan is concerned.
Hanrahan was the closer for the Nationals early on and fell out of favor there, had trouble with his command at times like you talked about. Got hit around and ended up eventually being traded with lasting millage for Niger Morgan and Sean Burnett.
So the Brewers probably did not think they were going to need Seth McClung to bat when they made the double switch for Craig Counsell, but they have made their way around the order. And now McClung, the 9th man to hit in the inning. He's down in the count now, 1-2 strikes.
Looking like a true pitcher who's come up in the American League side of things. Not really swung the bat very often in his career.
He is 0 for his first 6 in his 7th at bat of this season. Well, Jim, I think your analysis was fairly accurate. 1-2 pitch. Down on strikes is Seth McClung, but not before the Milwaukee Brewers put up 5 runs. Ryan Braun, a 3-run double down the left field line, cleared the bases to tie it up. And then, of course, Casey McGee with a home run as well, too. The Brewers' 5 runs have given them a 7-5 lead as we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning of play on MLB.tv. Ryan Doumit to lead off this inning. He's had himself a nice, powerful day. First inning, this blast, a 2-run shot, helped put the Pirates out front. Then in the 3rd inning, another deep shot to right field. It would be just by the first row of fans out in right field, and after further review, and the umpiring crew would say yes, a home run, and Ryan Doumit, for the first time in his career, a 2-home run day. Still, though, the Pirates trail in this one by a score of 7-5, and Doumit leads things off here in the bottom half of the 5th. Just goes to show how much the Pirates did miss him in the lineup when he was out to start.
Yeah, that's a lineup where you look at them offensively. They're 12th in the National League in runs scored, 14th in home runs, as we talked about, 15th in walks, on base percentage down in the lower 3rd, and 12th in the National League. And so to get a potent bat like Doumit in the middle of that lineup, that 4-hole hitter, you know, it's hard to replace him. It's nice to have him back.
Outside ball 1. What hurt more was at the beginning of the year is when you have your high hopes and when you think that maybe this can be the type of season to string things together. And when all of a sudden one of your big guns goes down early on, that really sends some shock. I mean, the teams won't say it. The team will say, they'll say all the right things, like, oh, we'll do what we can without him. But, you know, it's quietly inside you're going, wow, that's already a big piece of the puzzle that fell, and we didn't get off the start that we wanted to.
Yeah, you know injuries are part of the game, but you can't really plan for having a guy in the middle of your lineup or a starting pitcher that's say your top of the rotation starter. If one of those two things goes down and you have an injury, you just can't plan for those. You never plan for that type of injury to happen, and it can be a devastating blow to you, at least for the short term, until the guy comes back.
2 balls and a strike. McClung into the windup and deals down low. The count now 3-1.
Now McClung had a long layoff here. He came in, struck out the first 2 hitters that he faced coming in relief. Did a nice job striking out Sanchez and Garrett Jones. Now they score 5 runs to give him a lead. I'm curious to see how he handles this 5th inning.
Into center field. Cameron is there. 1 away. Well, if there's any consolation prize for the Brewers, is that each of his shots is getting a little shorter.
He kept that one in the ballpark, which was nice, Mike Cameron. I thought initially when it came off the bat, it might be hit a little bit harder, but Cameron ran it down.
Still overcast skies in the Pittsburgh area, but the setting at PNC Park, one of the best in baseball. Hometown Pirates, though, trail by a score of 7-5.
Ball flying out at PNC today. 6 home runs combined. 4 for the Pirates.
Delwin Young, a pair of singles so far in this contest. The 0-1 pitch on the way. 0-2.
Delwin Young, one of those young, good-looking outfielders, only a year, almost 2 years of service time at the major league level. Hasn't really gotten an opportunity until this year. Was playing a little bit when Brandon Moss was working on his mechanics, and has done a nice job with his opportunity.
Count now, a ball and 2 strikes. Milwaukee 7, Pittsburgh 5. Bottom half of the 5th inning. Three of those 4 Pirate home runs came in the 3rd inning, part of a 3-run frame. Brewers, though, answered right back with a 5-run 5th inning. 14 total hits and 12 total runs scored. And we have 1 out in the bottom of the 5th inning. The 2-2 pitch. In on the hands and foul back out of play, and the count stays the same. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. There's that line score so far that's developing. And based on what we've seen, I would not believe that 7-5 will be our final score.
No, the home run ball, as we talked about, 6 home runs, 5 of them have been solo shots.
Ryan Braun, a 4 RBI day so far for the Milwaukee Brewers. So he and Domet, the offensive stars to this point. 2-2 pitch by McClung. Foul back once again. The Cubs have put up 4 runs on the Philadelphia Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. They take a 4-0 lead. New York has added 1 more, 5-0 at home in the 4th over Baltimore. The other 2 games that are in action right now. Just under an hour away from the start of 3 other games. I should say 1 other game in under an hour with Arizona and Colorado. Then a few minutes after that, Florida and San Diego, and Minnesota is at Oakland. Three balls, 2 strikes, the pitch to Young. That's upstairs, ball 4.
Well, nice at bat there with Delwin Young. Got behind in the count, battled back, fouled off a couple pitches, and was able to draw one.
Sure, McClung didn't think that he would be batting, though, after he was double switched just an inning ago. Craig Counsell came in over at short to replace J.J. Hardy. He led off the inning by getting a single, a well-placed single. He would also score 1 of 5 runs that the Brewers would cross in that frame. McClung ended up ending the inning with a strikeout, so 9 batters reached 4 in at bat in the previous inning. Another nice defensive stab by Prince Fielder, this time on Brandon Moss. He has no play at second, but steps on the bag for out number 2.
Prince making another nice play there. He made an earlier play on Andy LaRoche. This one, a hard ground ball, 1 hopper to his right back. He couldn't get the ball out of his glove in time to make the throw down to second on the play, but did a nice job of not throwing it, actually taking the out at first base. Now 2 outs, man on second.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jim, with 2 outs and a 2-run lead now, much better position than having that tying run on base. So a nice headsy decision there by Prince Fielder.
Yeah, that would have been a tough play for him as a right-handed thrower. Runner going bearing down on the second baseman, and Prince has to pop up on his feet and make an accurate throw. The runner has the potential to block that ball and block the shortstop on that play, so better off just taking it.
And it's knowing your base runners as well, too. Delwin Young has some speed, so that play would have had to have been made fairly quick. Andy LaRoche so far is 0 for 2. Here's a look at Prince Fielder. Oddly, having a great defensive day, yet has not reached base so far offensively. Lifted down the right field line. Will it stay fair? Giving chase for a ball that is by the line. I believe it was called fair. Corey Hart not happy with the decision. And that will put LaRoche over at second.
Corey Hart cannot believe that ball hit fair territory. That's a ball that he has to better chase him. He's over in the corner. No, there's not a lot of foul territory there. The ball looks like it hit just on the chalk. Fair ball. Klung trying to influence the umpire in that play. Not going to happen. Change his mind on that one.
A run does score, Jim, so it's now a 7-6 game. LaRoche switches spots with Delwin Young. And now the tying run once again back in scoring position. Ramon Vasquez an opportunity to drive him home.
A little bit of frustration shown there by McClung on that play. And I think Billy Castro, the pitching coach, notices that after the play. He throws a wild fastball away to the lefty. Take him out and settle down.
Well, the Brewers bullpen is empty right now, so it's all up to McClung. He's got 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. The tying runner's over on second. Potentially also an opportunity to walk or pitch around Vasquez, but I would have to imagine at that point then that the pitcher's spot would get pinch hit for.
Yeah, you would think so. Vasquez isn't one of those type of hitters that is a real threat there. Is an 8-hole hitter, doesn't have a ton of power, not a great hitter, more of a utility defensive type. So I think Castro in that situation comes out to talk to him, hey, challenge this guy, let's go after him. Let's get ourselves out of this inning.
In there for a strike.
I'll tell you, Billy Castro taking over here, not easy duty to take over for pitching coach Mike Maddox. He was the pitching coach here, terrific reputation. Maddox went on to Texas to become the pitching coach there under the leadership of Nolan Ryan. Castro comes into the situation, has done a nice job stabilizing that staff.
Throw back behind the runner at second base, but LaRoche gets back.
And I have to give credit there to Castro there, noticing McClung, who's had some ups and downs, erratic as a pitcher so far in the major leagues. He recognizes that. He's maybe a little irritated on that flare double down the right field line. Go out and settle the pitcher down and see if we can get him back on track.
Here's the 2-1. In the dirt, blocked by Kendall. The count's now 3-1.
McClung going a little bit more deep into the counts here this inning than he did in the 4th. He came in relief in the 4th. He went 3-2 to Freddie Sanchez before he struck him out, but handled Garrett Jones pretty well at the end of the 4th. Here in this inning, gone to 3-ball count. This is his 3rd 3-ball count.
Vasquez fouls it away, so the count's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
The only hitter he didn't go to 3-ball was Brandon Moss when Prince Fielder made that nice diving play.
Well, Milwaukee has had Pittsburgh's number throughout the entire last calendar year. Take away the 1 victory on Monday by the Pirates, and basically you're looking at one of the longer winning streaks for a team on another team in the regular season in some time. The Pirates, though, looking to change that around. LaRoche is going to score. Vasquez slides in with an RBI double. We're knotted up at 7 apiece.
Vasquez didn't make great contact here, but it's a ball that he turned on the inside corner. Well-placed ball just inside the bag at first base. Got by fielder and down into the right field corner for a double.
McClung can't believe it. Vasquez's double helps the Pirates score another. So 3 straight doubles now. Or I should say 2 straight doubles, but 3 times in a row, which the man on second has just replaced the guy who's coming to score. And because of it, it's a 7-7 game. Jim, interesting decision here. Joel Hanrahan will make his first at bat of the season. With the score now being tied, is that perhaps why John Russell decided to stick with the pitcher?
I think so. I think it's a tie game, and the fact that we still have a long ways to go in this ball game. You said it best. 7-7, not going to be the final score.
We move to the top of the 6th after Hanrahan got a nice strong handle on one. 2 runs for the Pirates have tied this one up at 7 apiece on MLB.TV. Well, this was the scene in the Pirates dugout just a couple of moments ago. Word getting around now throughout the Pittsburgh dugout that Adam LaRoche, as reported first by Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, we heard it later on, and we also have it on MLB.com, has been traded to the Boston Red Sox and has made his way out of that Pirates dugout. That's understandable that he has to be out of the dugout, but at the same time, that's a tough situation. You've been around a ball club and around teammates for as long as you have. Mid-game, your team is out there in the middle of a 7-7 contest with Milwaukee, and you get word, hey, I need you to make your way into the clubhouse. Bunted out front, sliding play by Hanrahan, throw to first, not in time, and a nice job by Jason Kendall to lay down a bunt for a leadoff hit.
Nice idea there by Jason Kendall. He can bunt. He can also run. He's a catcher, one of those unusual catchers that can still run a little bit. Nice job putting that bunt down in a good location. No chance to get him to first.
Jim, not to put you on the spot in any sort of way here, but can you recall an instance when you made a trade, whether it be in-game or a scenario, and how does that go down? Do you tell the player, is it right in the dugout right there? They have a heads up? How does it work so that the situation is... most cases will be calm, but you never know.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity of trading somebody in-game. It's usually tried to wait till after the game. I have made a couple of trades in particular where I knew it was basically going to happen after the game, post-game, so we call the guy in after the ball game into the manager's office and have the conversation. It's unusual in-game to have a trade like this.
Popped out to Adam's brother, Andy LaRoche. Out number 1.
It's got to be odd for Andy. Obviously, his brother, they got along so well. They've had plenty of conversations over the year. They have the opportunity to play together for at least, for the most part, a full season. And like we talked about, Adam, this is not the first time he's been traded. This is the second team, actually the third team now, has been traded from Atlanta to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh on to Boston. But it's unusual, it's uncomfortable. There's a lot of disruption within the family, and obviously comfort level for Andy in getting a full-time opportunity here in Pittsburgh. Now it throws things a little bit out of whack for him, trying to get himself situated as a major league player.
Probably was a great day when he arrived in Pittsburgh, thinking maybe I could build something here and play alongside my brother all this time, but as of right now, not the case, as Adam LaRoche has been traded to the Boston Red Sox. Now, I can also see, too, because, Jim, you said you're in a scenario where you had to make the trade after the game, but at this point, if Neil Huntington and Theo Epstein agree on a deal, if Theo has the ability, to say, hey, look, we don't want him just in any potential situation, get him out, get him safe, he's our guy now, that kind of a thing, it's understandable. We don't need him near the dugout, or don't need him in any possible situation that would be not against our team, but that doesn't benefit our organization.
Yeah, once the trade has been approved, there's no reason for him to be in the dugout for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's now a official member of the Boston Red Sox, and it's time for him to move on and try to get him, in a situation where the Red Sox are playing. There's a chance potentially to get him in a Red Sox uniform, certainly if not later tonight, sometime tomorrow.
Mike Cameron with 2 outs and runner on first steps in. Strike one. Do you think that this will be, we talk about the trade deadline every year in this sense, but is any indication to you that this could be a high-moving one, a slow-moving one? Is it based on Halladay? How does it go in your opinion?
Right now the trade front is fairly slow. You're hearing a lot of names out there, but primarily it's slow because there's still a lot of teams still in the mix. Prior to the All-Star break, there's 18 teams within 4 games of a playoff berth, and that has a tendency to jam up the trade talks. Teams are trying to make trades, they're trying to improve, but they also don't want to make a move too quickly. So a team like the Pirates, who are out of it, and there's only about 5 or 6 that you can say are for sure out of it, they're the ones that have made trades here recently.
Runner goes, pitches up and in, the throw down to second is high, and Kendall is in there with a stolen base.
Kendall get a nice jump on that pitch. It's a breaking ball, looked like, up in the strike zone. Nice pitch to steal on.
Another look at this one. Jim, would you be an advocate then of a later trade deadline? I've always felt that I wasn't for it, but that seems to be the same answer every year. There's so many teams that are involved, which is a good thing for baseball, but it makes a tough decision.
It's a great thing for baseball. The parity, we've seen a lot of parity here in the last few years, a different World Series winner every single season since 2001.
Lifted into left center field. Andrew McCutchen several steps to his right to make the play for the final out of the inning. We are deadlocked at 7 apiece as we move to the bottom half of the 6th inning of play. All tied up between Milwaukee and Pittsburgh at PNC Park on MLB.TV. Again, moments ago in the Pirates dugout, we mentioned Adam LaRoche traded to the Boston Red Sox. There's his brother, Andy LaRoche. And after coming in at the end of the inning, grabs himself a drink, and then, only speculation, we don't know for sure. But he will make his way over towards the dugout. Nobody's really saying a word to him here at this point, but he'll make his way over to the dugout and to the clubhouse. Again, presumably, this is just us noticing Andy's motions, presumably to go underneath, maybe to chat with his brother. His brother has been traded to the Boston Red Sox. Numerous reports, including MLB.com, stating that Adam LaRoche is headed to the Boston Red Sox.
And you think this is it's not an easy day for Andy. Obviously the younger brother, but they have a very close relationship. The two brothers do. Obviously the father, that's what we talked about. And certainly you would think that he went down to say at least goodbye to Adam. I'll tell you, thinking about this and watching them, knowing that the Red Sox are in Texas tonight, they've been struggling against the Rangers here the last two games, and they're off tomorrow, and they play at home in Boston. If I was Theo Epstein, I'd be trying to convince Adam to go and see if he can meet him in Texas for the night and fly back to Pittsburgh the next morning, allow him the day to kind of get his stuff together and show up in Boston on Friday. I'll be curious to see if he actually makes the game there in Texas tonight.
You saw Todd Coffey into the game now for the Pittsburgh Pirates here at the bottom of the 6th. Another big lumbering righty into the ball game for Milwaukee.
Well, Todd Coffey, reliever, claimed off waivers from Cincinnati last year, has had a terrific season this year. He's been one of the stabilizing forces in that bullpen down there for the Brewers and Ken Macha.
McCutchen very much fooled on that pitch right there. A weak swing, and the count's even to 1-1. Milwaukee 7, Pittsburgh 7. The ball has left the yard for a home run on 6 different occasions. McCutchen has one of them. His led off the bottom of the 3rd. Two-one pitch. Tap foul.
McCutchen continues to show that he deserves to be up here at the major league level. You know, they sent him down at the beginning of spring training. They asked him to perform certain things down there, be a little bit more disciplined with his batting approach down in the minor leagues. He went down, he did that, and when they traded Nate McLeod to the Atlanta Braves, they brought up Andrew McCutchen. Since then, he has not been intimidated whatsoever at the major league level. More than held his own.
Couldn't hold up there as the check swing goes just a bit too far. Andrew McCutchen is down on strikes. One away here in the 6th.
As we look at Coffey and that nice slider that he featured there against McCutchen, that bullpen, when you talk about the Brewers' relief corps in terms of ERA, 9th in ERA in the National League with a 3.83, but they've 2nd in saves. Coffey has been one of the main guys in that bullpen. You look at what they've done with Mitch Stetter from the left side, obviously Coffey from the right side, leading up to Trevor Hoffman. They really have been overusing those two guys in particular. And I think Ken Macha has admitted he'd like to see, and Mark DeFelice, you could throw him in as well, has been very effective. They'd like to see Villanueva or McClung pitch a little bit better.
Lifted into right field. Corey Hart is there, gloves it for out number 2. So a lazy fly ball off the bat of Freddie Sanchez. He's now 0 for 4, and Garrett Jones steps in.
You know, that bullpen of the Brewers has, again, been fairly effective when you talk about ERA, 3.83, but they have been overused quite a bit. It's a concern that Ken Macha and the organization has talked about. The 6th in innings pitched in the National League when it comes to the relief corps, and I think that is something going forward, as effective as they've been, something that they need to address, either with another starting pitcher or to give them another relief pitcher that can maybe take on some of the workload.
What becomes the hardest part of a deadline? I mean, based on what ownership wants to say, evaluating your club, how far you're out, what's the hardest part of determining what your strategy will be going into a deadline?
You know, whether you're a buyer or a seller is a lot of times the most difficult decision to make. It's one of those things that, you know, if you're mediocre, but you're only 4 games out, you're not quite sure if you're a 7-game win streak from being in it or a 5 or 6 game losing streak from being really lousy. And so that's where your self-evaluation becomes the most difficult thing and the most important thing. And many times I've been in that situation where you make a trade because you think that you're in this thing, and then you end up finding out not only were you out of it, but you gave up a top prospect in addition to that. So it's a tricky spot to be in.
Two outs here at the bottom of the 6th. The 1-2 count right now to Garrett Jones. Andy LaRoche continues to pace in the dugout. Toughest part is hearing all the other names of teammates. He goes, sits down next to Freddie Sanchez. His name has been brought up. Jack Wilson in that dugout. His name has been brought up. He's seen it already before out of guys like Jason Bay. Now, of course, his brother, Adam LaRoche.
And Xavier Nady.
Xavier Nady,
Nate
another.
McLeod.
There's Freddie Sanchez.
Niger Morgan. 4 outfielders of Pittsburgh's. When you talk about outfield from last year to this year, completely different outfield. And actually traded 4 outfielders and Adam LaRoche, their first baseman, in the past year.
Jack Wilson, a longtime Pirate. Jones lifts one down the left field line. Will it stay fair? Yes, it will. And it'll hop into the stands for a ground rule double off the bat of Garrett Jones, who's having himself a nice offensive day.
Nice piece of hitting here by Jones. I've been impressed a little bit I've seen of him as a left-handed hitter. Potential power guy. Takes that fastball in and takes it the other way down the left field line. Just out of the reach of Ryan Braun. Braun does a nice job trying to keep that thing in the park. Bounces in over the fence for a double.
Here's Ryan Doumit. Doumit 2 for 3, a pair of home runs, one that required the use of instant replay. It was confirmed that he had a home run. And then he flew out to deep center field his last time up.
Every one of Doumit's bats today have been well struck, good at bats, good approaches. A lot of mileage on his balls today. On the 2 home runs, obviously the ball to center field was a nice running catch by Mike Campbell.
Grabbed on a tough hop by Prince Fielder. And Fielder's defensive day of solid plays continues there for out number 3. Keeps this one tied at 7 apiece. We move on. The deep stages of this one at PNC Park, all knotted up at 7 on MLB.TV. Downtown Pittsburgh, just over the Allegheny River at PNC Park, where the Pirates and the Brewers are knotted up at 7 apiece. Milwaukee's 5-run 5th inning right now, the big stunner off of Paul Maholm, who trailed, or rather just totally moved his way through the first 4 innings with ease. And then that 5th inning came to bite him. A 3-run bottom in the 3rd for the Pirates, all on home runs. Part of their big frame right now. Top of the 7th inning. Ryan Braun leading it off against Joel Hanrahan.
Hanrahan's done a nice job coming in relief. Came in with 2 outs in the 5th inning, struck out Hardy to end that inning, and allowed a leadoff bunt single to Kendall, but left him stranded in the 6th.
Lifted foul and out of play. Oh, no, he is caught. My mistake. Garrett Jones had room just by the railing, able to make the play to retire Ryan Braun for the first out of the frame.
Tough at bat here. Braun tries to foul it off into the stands, but doesn't foul it off far enough. Jones makes a nice play. Again, not a regular first baseman over there because of the Adam LaRoche trade. Only played 8 games at the major league level, but nice play on that ball over there near the dugout. We saw an earlier play in the game on the third base side with Andy LaRoche. Little bit tougher play, but close to the dugout, and Andy couldn't make that play. Again, not an easy play to make when you're getting close to that dugout fence. A lot of things to think about.
Prince Fielder, quiet at the plate today. A very loud contribution over at first base defensively. He's made 3 very nice plays. A low strike called. Fielder appears to be displeased with the call. 2-1 the count.
You pick up today's newspaper and you look at Prince Fielder. He's among the league leaders in home runs, second in RBIs, second in on-base percentage, second in slugging, second in OPS. Really having a remarkable season offensively. I really feel that after that home run hitting contest where he finally did something on a national stage, he was a quiet, kind of underrated guy. Not a lot of people knew about him, and that was kind of his coming out party, so to speak. And a lot more people started to understand how good of a player and how good of a hitter Prince Fielder really is.
You mentioned those numbers and how talented he is, and then it only really just shows what Albert Pujols is doing. Pujols first in RBIs. He's 4 ahead of Fielder coming into today. He's first in home runs. He's 9 ahead of his closest competitor, and that's in the majors. And then in average, he's second in the National League, trailing only Hanley Ramirez right now, who has a 16-point better average than Pujols, who's hitting .332.
Last Triple Crown winner, Carl Yastrzemski, 1967. I believe in the National League, the last one was in 1954. Pujols has a legitimate chance to do that, obviously leading in home runs and RBIs. Second, like you said, in batting average. He's a guy that, conceivably, again, if teams are going to pitch to him, we don't know if they will pitch to him much in the second half, but he has a legitimate chance to win that triple.
Fielder laces one into right center field for a base hit, so a hard hit ball by Prince Fielder with 1 out puts him on first.
You just had a feeling after going over 3 that he was due for a hit. You don't see many over 4s as we just talked about with a guy like Fielder. Nice at bat there. Stayed back on it. Looked like a off-speed pitch. Back up slider. And drills it in the center field for a second.
One out, top of the 7th. 7-7 score. Here's Casey McGee, who has a home run. One-handed swing lifts it into shallow right field. Sanchez goes a long ways to make the play over his shoulder. Nice play for out number 2.
I don't know where Delwin Young was on that play. Franny Sanchez went out into more than shallow right field for that play, showing tremendous range going back in the ball. That's normally a play that you expect the right fielder to call off the infielder, but Delwin Young not anywhere to be found, and Sanchez makes a nice play.
So with 2 outs, Bill Hall will get an opportunity to drive one in. He does have an RBI so far today. It came back in the 2nd inning. In there for a strike.
Hall showing some signs of life with the bat here today. They can only hope, the Brewers, that he can get himself back on track. They had a little meeting, Billy Hall did, with management and Ken Maka prior to the All-Star break, and the feeling was that they told him he was going to be more of a platoon-type player against lefties. That's why he got the start today, Paul Hall being the starter. But Hall's a guy that has more potential than that. He just hasn't shown it this year.
I always thought it was a tough spot for him to be in when he was never given that opportunity to be an everyday guy. But I understood why the Brewers kept him around, because he was just perfect to have in every spot. No matter the injury, no matter the situation, no matter the circumstance, Bill Hall was there to fill in.
Yeah, he started the first 23 of the first 26 games this year, and then just because of that inconsistency with the bat, he only started 26 games after of the next 61 games. I'm sorry, he had played in only 25. Hit a .124.
But this was even like earlier in his career, back before he became that everyday guy for the most part. It was tough to get him in because he was so talented everywhere.
In a lot of different positions. No, you're absolutely right. And that was a lot of talk about him was, where do you play him? Do you play him in the infield? Do you play him in center field? I mean, they didn't seem to have a position for him. Almost like an Alexi Ramirez type with the White Sox, where he's so valuable and so good in multiple positions, you're not sure where to play him.
The 1-2 pitch to Hall. Down and away, 2-2. And I'm looking back at the leaders for home runs in the National League. It's amazing how Albert Pujols has separated himself. He has 34 right now. After that, Adrian Gonzalez, Raul Ibanez, and Mark Reynolds all have 25. Prince Fielder has 24. He's a good 10 home runs behind, and he's having a good home run season.
He's having a really good season, that's right. Pujols is just in another world.
Hall down on strikes for the third out of the inning, so Hanrahan able to work an effective frame. Let's move to the bottom half of the seventh inning of play. We are still tied up at 7 apiece between Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. It's an MLB.TV exclusive. In a game that's tied up at 7 apiece, you know you're going to have some offensive heroes. Ryan Braun with a home run and 4 RBIs. And how about Ryan Doman with a pair of home runs and 3 RBIs? Just one of several guys that have come out on fire. Paul Maholm, well, we apologize. We spoke highly of him through 4 innings, and then that 5th inning turned out to be a disastrous one for him. But so far here on this day, the ball leading the yard very easily, Jim.
Yeah, ball's flying out. We talked about that. 6 home runs, 5 have been solo shots. Couple bombs. The one that we talked about earlier, Casey McGee, we thought would be a maybe extra base hit. The thing just went over the fence. Continued to carry over the 417 mark, deep in this part. Like you said, the ball carrying out, really a rarity when you talk about the Pirates. We talked about this earlier. 14th in the National League in home runs. Not a team that hits a lot of home runs. They have 4 today.
Well, they've given the fans something to cheer about. At the same time, though, Milwaukee's given their fans back up in Wisconsin something to cheer about with their offense, too. It's why we're tied up at 7 apiece here into the bottom of the 7th. Not a bad spot to get a view from PNC Park. It is almost a director's dream to be able to find out where to get some great shots of this ballpark because PNC Park offers many of them. That's one right there. Fouled out of play.
Looks like a pretty good crowd here today. Businessman special.
Is that how you like to put it?
Couple guys playing hooky right there. I'm sure from their business.
I'm going out to lunch. I'll see you in 4 hours.
See you tomorrow.
Kids also making their way out to the ballpark today. Raced into left center field for a base hit. So Delwin Young is aboard.
His 3rd hit today, Vinny. He's had really good at-bats. All 4 of his at-bats were solid at-bats today. His last one, he fouled off and he got the 2 strikes and worked the walk. This one here takes a fastball in the outside corner and delivers it to left field.
So here comes Brandon Moss. He's still waiting for his first turn on base. Todd Coffey still on the hill now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Jim, earlier in the game you spoke about the job that Jim Tracy had done with the Colorado Rockies and how Ken Maka has, since taken over the Milwaukee Brewers, has also done a very good job. You see the numbers that he had while with the Oakland A's. Talk about his style, I guess, a little bit, and how it seemingly works here with the Brewers.
Well, Ken Maka replaced Ned Yost. Ken Maka was in consideration for the manager's job when Doug Melvin chose Ned Yost at the time. But go back to Maka and Doug Melvin have a prior relationship going back to several years ago. Same thing with Willie Randolph as bench coach. And Maka has seemed to be the perfect fit here for Yost and Dale Swaim, who have come in the last 10 games of last year. Maka's picked up where he's left off as a more of a laid-back approach when it comes to his management style. He's a very intense guy, but been just the perfect personality. And obviously you have a guy like Willie Randolph who has the success that he's had, second winningest manager in the New York Mets as a manager. You have him as your bench coach, and that has that semblance, that mixture of a bench coach and a manager has been successful for the Brewers so far this year.
3-0. So Coffey in a bit of a hole here. Dale Swaim, by the way, suspended for 3 games. Now, that was not during the melee between these 2 ball clubs. This is from the previous series. The 3-0 pitch, in there for a strike. Swaim was suspended 3 games and fined an undisclosed amount. He was deemed to have inappropriate and aggressive actions towards the umpires. And that was on a game against the Cincinnati Reds at Great American Ballpark. He has already begun to serve that suspension starting last night in Milwaukee. Moss works a walk.
You know, I give Maka a lot of credit. He rehires Dale Swaim, who was the manager last year, wanted the managerial job himself, and Maka decided to keep him on as a hitting coach. And you don't see that very often, but Maka obviously very secure in his position as manager and wanted to surround himself with the best possible baseball people he could. He has quite a bit of experience around him with Dale Swaim obviously being here for a while. And then Willie Randolph, like I said, as his bench coach. And again, that style, his style, seems to be the perfect one. I've talked about this many times. The manager, in a lot of cases, is a custom fit. You know, when you talk about Jim Tracy, he was a prior manager with the Pirates. His style didn't seem to fit the Pirates at the time. He goes over to Colorado, gets a second opportunity. They come off 17-1. It's one of the best starts for a new manager in season, along with Joe Morgan of the Boston Red Sox. So, again, Jim Tracy seems to fit well in that whole situation as a custom fit for the Rockies, just like Maka does with the Brewers.
Adam LaRoche in National League style baseball looking to lay down the bunt is behind in the count 0-1. And able to get the bunt down. Runners advance. The throw is wide. They're going to say that he touched the base. There's an argument going over at first base, though. Andy LaRoche does not believe it. Well, the question is, was his foot still on the bag? That's what John Russell wants to ask.
I'll tell you, when I initially saw this, Vinny, it looked like the throw took Prince Fielder off the bag at first base, and that Andy LaRoche would have been safe at first base, and it looked like by a fairly wide margin. Let's see the replay. Nice bunt by Andy LaRoche right out in front of the mound. Pitcher picks it up. Coffey throws it to first. and fielder just must have tipped it as he fell down. You can't really tell from that angle.
I don't think he ever had his foot in the bag. That's McGee over there first. It looks like when he fell, his foot went over the bag.
And I'm not sure who the umpire was on that particular play. If you watch the replay, I'm not sure he had the greatest angle to see if his foot was on the base. He obviously pulled him out, and that's the play's going to stand there. But certainly they have an argument. Perry Hill, the first base coach, and John Russell, the manager. You see, this throw took him off the base. His foot wasn't on there. My only question, when he fell, did his foot happen to touch
Here's
the
a good
base?
angle right here. He doesn't have the ball yet. He never, and when he got the ball, he never touched, did he?
It doesn't look like it touched the base at all.
Maybe that right toe touched the bag. Maybe.
That's the tough part. You don't know, and certainly by the reaction of the base runner and the first base coach, it would, it wasn't one of those things where they're trying to fake it. It looks like, hey, you know what? I don't think you touched the base. Umpire, obviously, first base umpire had different thoughts and had a different view. Just he didn't have the greatest angle. If you look where Prince Fielder ended up, it was hard for him to see whether Fielder had touched the base or not.
Well, Ramon Vasquez is going to get walked. The pitcher spot is due up next. I meant to say earlier that Andy LaRoche got the bunt down. Adam LaRoche, that trade has been made official. And he is now a member of the Boston Red Sox, and we've been talking about for quite some time now.
Regardless
Andy
of whether
LaRoche
LaRoche was safe or out at first, Prince Fielder made another spectacular play, keeping that ball from going down the right field line.
Well, that was McGee.
I thought it was Fielder at first base. I'm almost positive. Well, let's double check.
We can double check, and then
Play that thing.
You're going to owe me a lunch.
You paid for one. I finally got one out of you today, so I'll be glad to pay for yours the next time.
It's McGee over first. Here comes the plate. Now we're not even checking for replay anymore.
You
we're
are
just
absolutely
checking
right. There's Fielder right there. So it was McGee. I'm way off. I am way off. All right, I'll gladly pay the lunch. McGee was, as you would expect.
Well, here's the best angle, by the way. Maybe that right toe.
He flopped like that. It looks like Prince Fielder.
Yeah. That was the best angle, though, for the purpose of replay. Maybe his right toe touches on the way down. Maybe. It's too tough to call from our angle, and obviously in real time how much tougher it is for any major league umpire. But I might lean towards safe on the play. But either way, now it does put Pittsburgh in a situation that the base is loaded with just one out. And a ground ball by the pitcher Salazar over towards second for one, down to first in time for the double play, and the Brewers get out of it. One pitch, 2 outs, and Jeff Salazar is retired on the double play. Here's one more look. The Brewers get out of a bases-loaded 1-out situation, and we're tied at 7 apiece. From the Allegheny River, you have a beautiful view of the ballpark. Not much of the field, but a beautiful view of the ballpark in between downtown Pittsburgh and, of course, PNC Park. We are tied up at 7 apiece. The Pirates lost a golden opportunity, bases loaded, 1 out. Jeff Salazar ends up grounding into the inning-ending double play. John Grabo, the new pitcher, and we have ourselves a first pitch swing out into right field. That is going to result in 1 out. So Felipe Lopez into the game, Jim. We were talking about him earlier, the recent acquisition of the Milwaukee Brewers. Lopez flies out on 1 pitch.
Yeah, didn't wait too long to take a hack, that's for sure. And Grabo comes into the game. It's been one of their more reliable relievers over the years. I think he's got just passed in 9th place in terms of appearances in Pirates history in relief pitchers. And certainly been a very effective reliever over the years. Gets the first pitch fly out by Felipe Lopez.
0-1 the count now to Jason Kendall. 1 out here in the top half of the 8th inning of play. 7-7 the score.
386 appearances as a Pirate. That's a lot of appearances.
Well, now the maneuvering begins, because now you have to try to scratch for a run somehow. The Pirates tried last inning, thought with the successful bunt of LaRoche, which, by the way, especially if he was safe, becomes more of a critical play that Pittsburgh did not score. Kendall flies out to right field as well, 2 away. But now that jockeying begins, Jim.
No, it does. We're going to see both managers, use their bench, obviously. I think we know now as we start to look at the yachts and the river boats down in straightaway center field. What do you think the name of that boat is, Vinny?
I didn't catch the name of the back of it.
But I think you're right. The managers, it gets into one of those cat and mouse games. Managers, we know why McClung actually hit earlier in the game, because you want to be able to save your pitchers for the later parts of the ball game. And still in the middle parts, there was a lot of game left, and McClung went 2 solid innings.
A ball and a strike to Craig Counsell.
Counsell had a nice at-bat, his first at-bat after entering the game against Mahalam. Lefty on lefty, just took that fastball away and hit it to left field. So see if he has the same type of approach this time against Grabo.
Down on strikes, so Craig Counsell, part of a 1-2-3 frame here for Grabo to put a close to the 8th. We move to the bottom of the inning, all tied up at 7 apiece on MLB.TV. A 7-7 score. The Pirates and Brewers all knotted up as we move to the bottom half of the 8th inning of play. Mark DeFelice into the ball game now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Has some strong numbers as well, too. Good strikeout to walk ratio and a low ERA to go with it.
Another one of those relievers that has pitched very well unexpectedly there in the Brewers bullpen. We talked about Todd Coffey last inning. Obviously, Mark DeFelice, another guy that's pitched effectively in that 7th and 8th inning, leading up to Trevor Hoffman.
Andrew McCutchen to lead it off in the bottom of the 8th inning of play, top of the order for Pittsburgh. McCutchen 2 for 4, including a home run and a single.
Both Felice and Coffey have had very, very good strikeout to walk ratios. Coffey is almost 4 to 1. Felice 3.5 to 1.
3-0 the count. Ooh, in there for a strike.
It's a borderline pitch on 3-0 right there. Obviously, taking. You got to have a base runner here. McCutchen wants to take a strike. That was a borderline pitch.
The 3-1. Almost identical pitch there, and the count moves full to 3-2. So now McCutchen, who the Pirates would love to have on board with his speed, faces a 3-2 count. McCutchen able to lift him to left field. Not shallow enough, though, as Ryan Braun able to make a sliding grab for out number 1.
Nice catch there by Ryan Braun in left field. Sliding catch, not an easy play there. McCutchen did a nice job making the adjustment on a 3-2 slider. Braun looks like he got a nice little jump, sliding catch. You certainly don't want to have the leadoff guy on, never mind a guy who can steal bases like Andrew McCutchen.
So here's Freddie Sanchez after the nice defensive play by Braun. Strike 1.
I haven't seen much of DeFelice, but I've got him already figured out, and he's a slider. That's his main pitch. Might be his only pitch.
2 away on the fly ball to right. So Corey Hart retiring that second batter there with 2 outs. That'll bring up Garrett Jones. Jones got the start because Adam LaRoche officially traded to the Boston Red Sox in the middle of today's ball game. He was pulled from the dugout, and because of it, the trade means that 2 members of the Red Sox will head on over to the Pittsburgh Pirates. What can we tell the Pirates fans about what these players that are coming back in return bring to the table?
Well, the Red Sox are giving up 2 prospects. Argenis Diaz is known as more of a defensive player. There's questions about his bat. He's 22 years old. He's in Double-A this year, hitting .253 with a .309 on base. Strickland was an 18th rounder in 2007. He was in Greenville, which is an A-ball, low A-ball, with a 5-4 record and a .335. He's had excellent command. 51 strikeouts to 13 walks in 83 innings pitched.
So 2 mid-level prospects make their way over to the Pirates system out of Boston in exchange for Adam LaRoche. Presumably LaRoche will be able to get some time at first base, maybe even some designated hitter time to give Ortiz a rest, but that should move Kevin Youkilis over to third for the most part. And Mike Lowell, who has been very injury-riddled in the last season or 2 or so, will probably be the recipient of some more free time.
Yeah, I think you'll see Lowell. There was a lot of talk about the injections that he got in that hip, degenerative hip problem that he has. He went out to see a specialist, and they gave him what they call Synvisc injections, which are supposed to allow there to be a little bit of a barrier between he was bone on bone. They're rubbing against each other, causing him a lot of pain. But he's going to need a little extra time off. He's not going to be able to play every day like he would like. So I think this is what gives the Red Sox protection. It's another trade that the Red Sox and Pirates have done. I mean, last year they picked up Jason Bay as well. So second trade deadline type deal that the Red Sox and Pirates have been a part of.
New pitcher into the ballgame now for the Milwaukee Brewers. Mitch Stetter makes his way to the mound. There you see the tall lefty. his numbers for the 2009 season. And he'll be in to face left-handed hitting Garrett Jones. Bases are clear. There are 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Milwaukee 7, Pittsburgh 7. Foul back. Well, so the Pirates make another deal. That means there are a couple of guys that are still out there that could potentially move. I think Pirates fans would like to be able to see some of those names stick around, perhaps even a Jack Wilson of sorts. This one's lifted into deep right field. That's up off the top of the wall. Jones rounds first, makes his way to second. He'll stop there with a 2-out double.
Boy, that ball was struck really well getting out for a left-hander. Garrett Jones, lefty on lefty. Instead of his one main job is to come in and get the left-handed hitter, he leaves looked like a fastball up in the strike zone, and Jones crushes this ball. The only reason why it's not a home run is because of the higher right field fence that you have here in Pittsburgh.
Well, this time nobody offered at it, no fans offered at it, and that ball landed maybe about 2 feet or so shy of that yellow line out in right field.
No need to review that one. That was clearly off the fence.
Now that fence is 21 feet high and done so in order to honor the number of Roberto Clemente, longtime right fielder with the Pittsburgh Pirates. There's the number 21. So the wall ends up being 21 feet high. Now, a great way to honor Clemente, but at the same point, just about a foot too shy. Had Clemente worn the number 20, Garrett Jones would have hit his second home run of the day.
We'd be talking about a one-run game. Any chance we can change the number? Got to leave it at 20.
Absolutely. And a walk here to Ryan Delman, who has been switched around to that right side. So now first and second, and Delman Young, who's been great at the plate today, will get another opportunity.
Interesting maneuver here. We talked about kind of going lefty on lefty, and Ken Mocker coming out to talk to Stetter here. But with Garrett Jones, the lefty, and then you have Doan and Young, both switch hitters. Very interesting that he went to Stetter when he did, the way DeFelice had been pitching. He'd virtually come in and took care of the first 2 hitters that he faced. Again, bullpen a little bit short-handed. Could have used DeFelice in that against Jones, but he chose not to.
Well, we mentioned some overcast skies throughout the Pittsburgh area. A slight drizzle has begun to make its way down on top of PNC Park. 0-1 to Young.
Stetter's style, a little bit of a drop down from the left side, not real conducive to getting right-handed hitters out.
Up and away, 1-1. Runners on first and second, bottom half of the 8th inning of play, 2 outs. Young swings to a fastball. The count now is ball 2 strikes.
Pretty good fastball right there. He blew that one by Delman Young. Tried to sneak that little backdoor fastball or cutter in there on the outside part of the plate. Just missed. Very close. Tough one to take there with 2 strikes.
Down on strike, so Delman Young watches a fastball pass right by him, and the Pirates unable to drive any other runs in. It's a 7-7 score. One more look at Delman Young as he looks at strike number 3. Tied up here at PNC Park on MLB.TV. plenty of ways to enjoy the Allegheny River. Yet another one right here. You can even jet ski while taking in a Pirates game. Then again,
that doesn't look like Tim.
I think Tim's a man. If Tim made another trade, I'd be impressed. First the kayak, then the boat, and now the jet ski as well on the Allegheny. New pitcher into the game as Matt Capps makes his way in. Capps, closer for the ball club, 20 saves out of 22 opportunities here in 2009. And we'll get an opportunity to try to hold this one exactly where it is.
Capps has had his struggles this year, especially lately. But manager John Russell has said he's going to stick with him. He likes the mental makeup of Capps. You know, it's a tough position to go in as a closer, and when you have some adversity, how you handle it. And a lot of times, young closers aren't able to handle that. But obviously, Capps is a guy who, when he has struggled, he's been able to bounce back.
We'll face top of the order. Here's Corey Hart, first pitch. In there for a strike. Oh, it might have been inside, but either way, Hart, who struck out twice so far today, is behind in the count, 0-1. Lifted, right field. Young is there to make the play for out number one.
Russell doing a nice job here, in my opinion, of bringing the closer in a tie game at home. You certainly don't usually see that when you're on the road in a tie game. They tend to save your closer, obviously, for the bottom half of that inning, so he doesn't have to go two. But with the Pirates being the home team here, the closer comes in the top of the ninth, you give your team a chance to win it in the bottom of the ninth. Capps is an interesting talk. We've been talking about the trade deadline. He's a guy that if you were to make him available, and I think he would be a valuable back of the bullpen type guy, maybe not a closer, you could probably get something for him for an eighth inning guy.
Cameron lifts one deep in the left center field. That's up off the wall past Brandon Moss. Cameron on his horse is rounding second. He's headed towards third. The relay throw will not even be making its way there as Cameron slides in head first with a one-out triple. How about that off the bat of Mike Cameron? A deep fly ball in the left center field. Jim, here's one more look at it.
Well, the pitch was up in the strike zone. Cameron struck it well. I thought it had a chance to get out of here. It almost did. Hit the bottom of the fence and kind of ricocheted away from the outfielders. And that's what allowed Cameron to get to third. Nice effort there by Moss. Almost came up with a play. And McCutchen was a little close to the wall as well. And so the ball gets away. There's no chance to get Cameron at third. Cameron really could have gone in standing up.
A fierce slide out of Cameron into the third base bag.
Tackled third base, didn't he?
So now Ryan Braun in an RBI position, exactly what the Brewers want. Cameron on third, one out, and now Braun and Fielder due up. You can only pitch around somebody so much. I'm sure the Pirates don't want to put any more runners on. As a matter of fact, the infield is in. Outfield playing in the same spot as usual for the most part, allowing for doubles down the line with plenty of distance between the lines on each side and the fielder. Maybe Delwyn Young a little bit shaded more towards right field.
Left fielder, same spot that he was the last time Braun was up with the bases loaded when he doubled, scoring Cameron from first, all the way from first base in that situation that we had in the fifth. Still positioned that same way. I'm a little bit surprised here, but again, right now Braun driven in 4 runs, has a chance to drive in a 5th.
Just misses, and the count now is a ball, 2 strikes.
You know, in this type of situation, you're Ryan Braun, you're looking for any type of pitch up in the strike zone, something that you can drive in the air, try to get yourself a sacrifice fly since you have a man on third and 1 out. Last thing you want to do is swing at something. Now with 2 strikes you got to protect, but you don't want to hit the ball on the ground with the infield being there.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, Braun so far has 4 RBIs today, as you've alluded to, Jim, so he's the man to have up at the plate in this situation right now. Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach for the Pirates, trying to go through every possible scenario in which to get out of this inning without a run allowed. Cameron's triple really puts the pressure on that Pirate defense. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike three, and Braun is free.
Yeah, he got fooled on that one. I think that was just trying to protect the strike zone type of swing. 2-2, looked like a 2-2 slider. It wasn't a great slider, but it was up. I think Braun looking at fastball there and just trying to foul something off. Just a bad swing.
All right, well, Jim, now clearly this puts the Pirates in a situation in which they can walk Prince Fielder.
I gotta believe they got a pitch around him here. Joe Kerrigan going through his book there. It was too late to figure out how to pitch Ryan Braun. I think he was trying to figure out a way. How do we pitch to Prince Fielder here, or do we pitch around him and take our chances with Casey McGehee? I would take my chances with Casey.
That's what they're going to do. Prince Fielder will get the intentional pass. It'll set up runners at the corners. And Casey McGehee, who does have a home run so far today and is 2 for 4 with a pair of RBIs and 2 runs scored, will get the opportunity to drive the go-ahead run in. Need to find out which side she's rooting for, because that could potentially tell us the outcome of this game.
Gotta believe that they were not going to let her take a road trip from Milwaukee. She's got to be local. Huh? Otherwise, she's dipping into the coffers a little too much and going on that road trip. No, she could be on vacation.
So Fielder is on at first and third now, and here's Casey McGehee. And McGehee earlier in the game came through in a big way. I tell you what, it got out in a hurry as well too. This was in the 5th inning. A low line drive of a shot that just kept carrying it over that 410-foot side.
The ball was crushed. I mean, the fastball was kind of in, a little bit in, but really, as we talked about at the time, it surprised us. It looked like it was a ball that would certainly be in the gap for extra base hit, but the ball carried right over the fence for a home run.
Second baseman, Casey McGehee.
So the chance is out there, but it's all on McGee's shoulders. The infield will drop back now with 2 outs. And with a runner over on first. Mike Cameron's triple with 1 out put him on third. Prince Fielder, the intentional walk, has him over on first. There are 2 outs here in the top of the 9th inning. We're tied up at 7 apiece. And Casey McGehee the opportunity to put the Brewers out in front. First pitch from Caps in their first strike.
First pitch slider, you're hitting in that situation, you're looking strictly fastball. Anything else, you're going to take a pitch. So Caps knows that. It's a good way to get ahead in the strike, in the count, if you're able to throw that slider for a strike.
Tap towards third. Called foul.
Another slider there. Yeah, 0-1 slider that McGehee was out ahead of and grounded it down to third base. A pretty close play, close to the line. Third base umpire made the correct call. Foul ball.
We're now an 0-2 count with 2 outs. Caps, the normal closer for the Pirates, looking to shut down Milwaukee here in the top of the 9th. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Caps able to retire McGehee. Here's one more look at it. Caps, he's excited, as he should be. His Pirates are still tied up at 7 apiece, heading to the bottom of the 9th inning. It's an MLB.TV exclusive on MLB.com. Fans in Pittsburgh hoping for that dramatic finish. If the Pirates were to win, it will happen because we are in the bottom of the 9th inning of play. And we're tied up at 7 apiece. 7 runs, 10 hits, no errors for Milwaukee. 7 runs, 12 hits, no errors for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mitch Stetter still in the game for the Brewers, and he will face Brandon Moss to lead things off here in the bottom of the 9th. The first pitch, outside, ball 1. One-0 pitch now to Moss. That's fouled out of play. The count is 1-1.
Moss and Sanchez, looking at the line today, the only 2 regulars for the Pirates that have not been on base. I'm sorry, haven't had a hit. Moss did get on base with a walk, so Sanchez is the only guy 0 for 5 without getting on base today. Don't forget now with the trade with LaRoche, they're playing the position player short, so it makes it a little more difficult for John Russell to go ahead and pinch hit. Brewers having to go into their bullpen. Both teams actually having to go into their bullpen early. Something to keep an eye on here as we go later is who's left in the bullpen as well.
Moss hits one deep to center field. Cameron goes back. He's at the track. He looks up. The ball's gone! Brandon Moss with a game-winning home run here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And the Pirates defeat the Brewers by a score of 8-7. The 5th home run of the game for the Pittsburgh Pirates. You'd have to go back just over a year against St. Louis last July.
And Moss took a 3-1 fastball. 3-1 fastball by Brandon Moss and crushed it deep center field. No question that ball was out of here. Mike Cameron trying to go back on that ball, ran out of room. Walk-off home run for Brandon Moss.
How about that? You just mentioned Brandon Moss, one of the 2 guys on the team without a hit in that Pirate lineup for a team that had 13 of them on this day. But his hit, the biggest. A solo home run, the game-winning home run. Here's one more look at it. Mitch Stetter delivers the pitch, and Brandon Moss to the deepest part of the park, over Mike Cameron's head, over the center field wall, and the Pirates pick up the 8-7 victory right into that, or just shy, rather, of the Pirate bullpen, into the Brewer bullpen, and the Pirates and Brandon Moss walk off a happy crowd here on this day.
The Pirates have not had a lot of success within the National League Central. This was their first series win since mid-May. Overall, this will give them their 2nd series win, 2-9-2 in series within the division.
7 runs, 10 hits, no errors for Milwaukee. 8 runs, 13 hits, no errors for the Pittsburgh Pirates. A 3-run bottom of the 3rd, highlighted by all home runs for Pittsburgh, was then countered by a 5-run top of the 5th, where Milwaukee took a 2-run lead. Pirates answered with 2 of their own at the bottom of the 5th. We stayed tied all the way till that very moment right there, when Brandon Moss and his solo home run helped the Pirates win it 8-7 here in the bottom of the 9th. An impressive way to do so, and really probably in cliche form, Jim, the fitting way to end this one, considering how many balls left the yard on this day, especially for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
No question. That's one of the things that was a surprise. The Pirates are not known for hitting home runs. They had hit 4 earlier in the game. They missed a golden opportunity with bases loaded, 1 out in the 7th, and pinch hitter Salazar hit into a 4-6-3 double play. But as you said, game-winning walk-off home run. Very unlike the Pittsburgh Pirates today.
Well, this one ended up a 8-7 victory for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Take you back to this one where Brian Braun got things started. This was in the top of the 1st inning. His solo shot off of Paul Mahalem ended up giving Milwaukee the lead. The bottom of that inning, though, the Pirates came back with 2 runs of their own. Starting the game for Milwaukee was Jeff Suppan, but it was Ryan Doman and his 2-run blast that gave the Pirates the lead there at that point. The scoring continued with a flurry in this one, Jim. Back and forth they went. Bill Hall and his RBI double would tie things up at 2 apiece. That was in the top half of the second inning. Andrew McCutchen would lead things off in the third inning with a solo blast. That one here into left field off the pitch from Jeff Suppan, and once again, the Pirates were cooking. Garrett Jones, the first baseman who was in because Adam LaRoche was traded to the Boston Red Sox with a home run, his 6th in 9 games. And then the Pirates would continue the fun. Ryan Doman would pick up his 2nd home run of the game. This one, though, not without a little bit of review. The ball just by the yellow line, and the umpires would need to use instant replay and make the call, saying that it was a home run. At that point, though, Milwaukee would not they would not step aside. Ryan Braun with this 3-run double, clearing the bases, would be part of a 5-run inning for the Milwaukee Brewers. And Milwaukee's lead would then be 7-5. It would get capped off by Casey McGee, a low liner of a home run, one that did look like it was going to get out, but it did. And it would certainly help the Brewers take that 7-5 lead. At this point, Ramon Vasquez would come through with an RBI double down the right field line. The Pirates back in business, looking to tie things up as Andy LaRoche would come in to score. It would be 7-7 all the way into the 9th inning. Bottom half of the 9th inning of play. Well, Brandon Moss sends home the fans. Very happy into the Brewer bullpen, just shy of his own teammates. He will get celebrated at home plate with the game-winning home run for Brandon Moss. 8-7 the victory. There are those numbers to look at, Jim. What sticks out to you? Certainly a lot of offense on this day as Pittsburgh wins.
A lot of offense today, but I'll tell you what stood out to me was right at the end, the Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen did a nice job of keeping the Brewers off the board after that 5th inning. Didn't allow another run the rest of the ballgame.
Pirates win it by a score of 8-7. The fans were certainly excited on this day. Paul Maholm got the start. He looked good the first 4 innings, but that 5th inning is one that bit him. A 5-run frame for the Brewers. We saw lots of home runs on this day by both clubs. Ultimately, though, the Pirates and their 5 home runs were the difference, including that Brandon Moss shot at the end. Ryan Doman finished with 2 home runs on the day, and the Pirate was very happy. My thanks goes out to everybody who helped put this one together. The broadcast crew, everybody in the truck, all the camera operators and more out in the field, and everybody in New York helping out as well, too. For Jim Duquette, I'm Vinny McCucci. The Pittsburgh Pirates picked up the 8-7 victory over the Milwaukee Brewers.